Chapter 2023. Madame Yang sighed again. Back then, this was what mother thought, which was why she allowed you to be together with Tianlong. Otherwise, with the Zhao family's conditions, father and mother would never have allowed you to marry over and suffer. Shenwan also said, that's right. Back then, I saw that Tianlong had potential. I would not bear to let my precious daughter marry into such a poor and remote place. Father, mother, I know that you feel sorry for me. However, I believe that these few years of suffering here are worth it. Tianlong will definitely not let me down and will bring me and Yang Yang to live a good life. Madame Yang and Shenwan nodded in agreement. I hope so. Tianlong's imperial examinations are coming up soon. Pan, when you return, bring Yang Yang back to your parents' home and let your mother buy some things. The two of you will go to the temple together and pray for Tianlong. Let the heavens bless him and let him pass. Yes, father. Shen Pan nodded in agreement. Her heart was filled with anticipation. After chatting for a while, the Shen family got up and bid farewell. Feng Zhangxia and Zhao Wenshi politely sent them off. Seeing that it was getting late, Feng Zhangxia and Zhao Wenshi did not urge them to stay. They did not want the Shen family to be late. In order to prepare for the banquet, Feng Zhangxia and Zhao Wenshi were already so tired that their chests were sticking to their backs. They did not rest for long in the afternoon. Seeing that the sky was about to darken, they had to prepare for the banquet again. As they had already troubled Zhao Yun, and the other sisters-in-law to prepare for the banquet at noon, they were also very tired today. Especially Qian Zurio. In the afternoon, when she was helping to wash the dishes, she accidentally cut her hand by a broken bowl. There was a big cut and a lot of blood. Although her hand was bandaged, it was somewhat inconvenient to do such rough work. Naturally, Feng Zhangxia was even more embarrassed to ask Qian Zurio to help. As for Zhao Yun, and Liang Jinqiao, she knew Zhao Yun's personality. She was not easy to talk to. She had already given enough face by coming over to cook for the banquet at noon. She could not count on her for the banquet at night. As for Liang Jinqiao, she was pregnant. She helped out in the afternoon, so it was unreasonable for her to ask Liang Jinqiao to help out in the evening. However, if he were to manage all the dishes by himself, even though he only needed to heat them up, it would still be a little too much for him to handle. She couldn't count on the men at home. How many men could cook and enter the kitchen? With this in mind, the only person in the family you can count on is Shen Pan. All these years, Feng Zhangxia had never asked Shen Pan to do anything. This time, she had no choice but to rely on Shen Pan. Of course, today's work should be fine. If Shen Pan didn't come out to help, then she really would be unreasonable. Even if Shen Pan was the eldest daughter of the Zhao family, since she married into the Zhao family, she was their daughter-in-law. When the family was in trouble, it was understandable for her to lend a helping hand. Pan, Feng Zhangxia shamelessly walked up to Shen Pan's room. At this moment, Shen Pan was in the room with Zhao Yangyang. The two of them unpacked the food that the Shen family had brought over. Zhao Yangyang was eating it in his hands. Mother, what's wrong? Shen Pan asked. Chapter 2024. As soon as she heard that she was going to help out in the kitchen, Shen Pan immediately resisted. She hated greasy places like the kitchen the most. Working there would make her hands and body smell very bad, so she didn't want to step into it. Fortunately, after so many years in old Zhao's house, the number of times she did housework could be counted on one hand. She didn't expect Feng Zhangxia to take the initiative to ask her to help out this time. Shen Pan's expression didn't look too good. She replied reluctantly, Mother, I still have to take care of Yang Yang. If I help out, what will happen to Yang Yang? Feng Zhangxia smiled and said, Yang Yang can be taken care of by your father. Your father will be fine. Shen Pan was still a little unwilling. Mother, why don't you ask father to help? How can that be? Your father is a man. How can he help out in the kitchen? Feng Zhangxia said sternly. But mother, Shen Pan, was about to decline when Feng Zhangxia said, Pan, I only came to you because I have no other choice. I don't usually ask you to do any housework. I only called you because I don't have enough manpower. After today, I won't ask you to do any more housework. You can't be unwilling to do it even once, right? Since Feng Zhangxia had already said this, if she still refused, Feng Zhangxia would blame her to death. She wasn't afraid of anything else, but she was afraid that Feng Zhangxia would say bad things about her in front of Zhao Tianlong. She would say that she was arrogant and didn't know how to be filial to her in-laws. Zhao Tianlong placed the most importance on filial piety. She didn't want to affect her image in Zhao Tianlong's heart. Only then did Shen Pan respond reluctantly, all right then, mother. I'll come out and help out. Feng Zhangxia's stern expression eased a little. If Shen Pan insisted on not coming out, she would definitely be unhappy. It was true that Shen Pan was the eldest daughter of the Shen family. She couldn't be arrogant in front of her mother-in-law. Sometimes, she had to know her place. As a daughter-in-law, she had to do what a daughter-in-law should do. The mother-in-law and daughter-in-law busied themselves in the kitchen. Because she was unwilling, Shen Pan was a little slow when she worked. When she saw the dust on her pink dress accidentally smeared on the wall and stained it, Shen Pan's heart immediately ached. Seriously, she had dirtied her clothes just by doing some work. Didn't she know how much the clothes cost? Shen Pan's face was filled with melancholy as she prayed that this would be the last time she did housework. If she had to do it again, she definitely wouldn't do it again. In the end, it was all her sister-in-law's fault. If she hadn't married him, how could so many things have happened? When the banquet was ready, old Zhao's whole family came over. In the evening, only old Zhao's family was present. They chatted and laughed at the dinner table, and time passed quickly. Without the outsiders forcing them to drink at noon, Zhao Tianhu took the initiative to toast the elders because he was happy. Naturally, the wine he drank was not watered down. Feng Zhangxia and Zhao Wenshi didn't stop them because they didn't drink much and were drinking with their elders. Instead, they were very happy. Not long after, the whole family drank a lot of wine. After the banquet, they went to the bridal chamber. When Zhao Tianhu heard that they were going to the bridal chamber, his face immediately turned red and he was extremely shy. He looked at old Zhao's family members pleadingly and said, "Why don't you stop fooling around? Can I drink a few more glasses of wine with you?" Chapter 2025. The others echoed. Exactly. It's not easy to hold a wedding banquet. How can we let it go so easily? But, Zhao Tianhu had a conflicted look on his face. His ears were red and it was obvious that he was shy. But what? Tianhu, you're already married. Why are you still shy? Zhao Tianhu didn't say anything, but his blushing face betrayed him. Everyone chuckled when they saw this. Feng Zhangxia loved her son dearly. Seeing Zhao Tianhu like this, she helped him and said, "Let's just forget about it. Don't make a fuss about the bridal chamber. Tianhu isn't like other people's children. He's been shy since he was a child. I'm sorry. If you make a scene, he'll be too shy to enter the wedding banquet." Zhao Tianhu lowered his head and acquiesced to Feng Zhangxia's words. If other people made a scene, he would indeed be too shy to enter the wedding banquet. He couldn't do anything in front of Jin Ju in front of so many people. Even if he was shy, Jin Ju might not be. Therefore, he decided to forget it. Girls were thin-skinned, and he had to consider Jin Ju. Old Zhao's family just joined in the fun and made a joke. Seeing that Zhao Tianhu was really shy, they said with a smile, "Then let's let Tianhu go. Let's not be a hindrance here. Let's let Tianhu and his niece-in-law have a good time in the wedding banquet. Every minute of the wedding banquet is worth 1,000 gold. Tianhu, you'd better get busy. Haha, Tianhu, work hard. Hurry up and go. Don't let your niece-in-law wait in the wedding banquet alone for too long." It would have been better if they hadn't said anything. Once they did, Zhao Tianhu's face turned even redder. Feng Zhangxia looked at her son and couldn't help shaking her head. Zhao Tianhu was already so old. Why was he still so shy? She wondered if Zhao Tianhu knew anything about the wedding banquet. Feng Zhangxia was afraid that Zhao Tianhu was too honest and didn't even know what the wedding banquet was. After all, no one taught him these things, and many things couldn't be learned without a teacher. Feng Zhangxia thought that it would be better to ask Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Tianhu before the wedding banquet. After Zhao Tianhu knew about the wedding banquet, she could hold her grandson sooner. Old Zhao's family talked for a while. Zhao Baoshan, Hua Chunhua, and the fourth branch's family. Zhao Yun's family. Feng Zhangxia shouted at Liang Jinxiao, third sister-in-law, wait a moment. Liang Jinxiao turned around and asked, sister-in-law, is there anything else? Feng Zhangxia smiled and said, third sister-in-law, didn't we have a banquet? There are still a lot of dishes that haven't been eaten. In this kind of weather, they will probably search tomorrow. So I was wondering if I could pack these dishes and hang them in your well. The well water was at a constant temperature, so it was warm in winter and cool in summer. In ancient times, people didn't have air drying, so they would use this simple method to hang the dishes in the well. This way, they wouldn't spoil easily. The first branch held a wedding banquet today. Even though they had another meal in the evening, there were still many dishes left. It would be a pity if they just put them aside and waited for them to spoil tomorrow. Hearing that, Liang Jinxiao nodded and said, okay, sister-in-law. Bring them here. I'll bring them back. Okay. Seeing that Liang Jinxiao agreed, Feng Zhangxia was very happy. She hurriedly turned around and went into the kitchen. She put the dishes in the well and carried them out. Chapter 2026. Liang Jinxiao smiled and replied, you're welcome. It's nothing. That's right. If third sister-in-law doesn't help, these dishes will go to waste. If they go bad, they definitely can't be eaten. If they go bad, they'll get upset easily. Of course, they can't be eaten. Third sister-in-law, your family is lucky to have a well. Not only is it convenient to use water, but it's also easy for the dishes to go bad in this weather. Liang Jinxiao smiled and agreed. There weren't many families in the village who dug wells. Digging a well required a lot of manpower, and it would cost a lot of money. Thus, ordinary families wouldn't be willing to spend money on this and basically wouldn't dig wells. Now that the third branch was well off, they definitely wouldn't dig wells. The third branch took the food that the first branch gave them and went back. Now that the sky was dark, they couldn't see the road outside very clearly. Only Zhao Wenhuo lit a lantern in front of the family, which reflected some light. Because Liang Jinxiao was pregnant, she was very careful in doing things. Zhao Yun reminded Liang Jinxiao, Mother, let father support you. It's dark on the road and you can't see clearly. Don't be careful and accidentally fall. Pregnant women couldn't withstand the torment, especially an older pregnant woman like Liang Jinxiao. If she accidentally fell, it was very likely that she would lose the child in her belly. Naturally, she had to be very careful at this moment. After hearing Zhao Yun's words, Zhao Wenhuo reached out and touched Liang Jinxiao's hand. She said to Liang Jinxiao, Yun is right. You have to be careful. You can't take a fall. Liang Jinxiao saw that Zhao Wenhuo was holding her hand tightly. She couldn't break free even if she wanted to. A blissful smile appeared on Liang Jinxiao's face when she thought about how worried her husband and daughter were about her. She didn't say anything and let Zhao Wenhuo lead her forward. In fact, although they were walking at night, the moonlight was very bright and they could still see the road clearly. She often walked at night, so how could she be so delicate and weak? She immediately fell down. However, in order not to let Zhao Wenhuo and Zhao Yun worry, she obediently cooperated and didn't say anything. Daodu followed beside Zhao Yun. He glanced at Zhao Wenhuo and Liang Jinxiao. Then he looked at Mu Yanfeng and said, Father, hold mother's hand. Don't let mother's hand. Mother's hand. And don't let mother fall down. Mu Yanfeng's lips curled into a smile. He lowered his head and glanced at Dao before replying, "All right, then father will hold mother's hand." "Okay." Dao grinned happily, revealing his cute little canine teeth. His cute face melted Zhao Yun's heart. The family of three walked together happily. Now that the weather was hot, the fields on both sides of the road were filled with the sound of frogs croaking. It was very pleasant to the ears. This kind of idyllic tranquility was something that didn't exist in the 21st century. After coming to this world, although everything was not as convenient as in the 21st century, Zhao Yun felt that this kind of idyllic life was more suitable for her. With Mu Yanfeng and Dao by her side, she hoped that this kind of happiness could continue. Chapter 2027. Zhao Yun looked up and saw a bright firefly flying in the night sky not far away. The last time she saw a firefly was when she was a child, and she never saw one again after she grew up. After seeing it at this moment, Zhao Yun's eyes also revealed a touch of amazement. Like Dao, she was very happy. She had never seen those twinkling fireflies again after she grew up. She didn't expect to see it again in ancient times. "Mother." Dao pulled Zhao Yun's hand and asked when he saw that Zhao Yun was in a daze. A smile appeared at the corner of Zhao Yun's mouth, and then she patiently explained to Lil P, "That's not a star falling from the sky, that's a firefly." "Firefly?" Dao asked softly. "Yes, it's called a firefly. Isn't it beautiful? It naturally glows, and it appears in this season." Zhao Yun explained to Dao. Dao tilted his little head and listened attentively. He then looked at the firefly flying around with a face full of joy. His black eyes turned back and forth, reflecting the moonlight like stars in the sky. This child was unbelievably beautiful, only Mu Yanfeng's good genes could give birth to a cute boy like Dao. Seeing that it was getting late, Zhao Yun patted Dao's head and said, "All right, Dao, let's go home." Dao looked at the firefly reluctantly and muttered, "I really want to bring them back. Too bad they're flying in the sky and I can't catch them." After he finished speaking, Dao's eyes sank, and his eyes revealed a sense of loss and sadness. Mu Yanfeng saw this and smiled at Dao. "Dao, do you want to catch them?" "Yes." Dao nodded. "Then father will go and catch some for Dao." Dao's originally gloomy eyes immediately lit up, and he happily asked, "Daddy, is this true? Are you really going to help Dao catch some?" "Of course." After Mu Yanfeng finished speaking, he gently leaped into the air. Dao stared at Mu Yanfeng. He watched as Mu Yanfeng elegantly turned around in the air, grabbed the air in front of him, and then gracefully landed on the ground again. His small eyes looked at Mu Yanfeng with admiration. "Look!" Mu Yanfeng stretched out his palm, and a few fireflies flew out from his palm. "Wow!" Dao cried out in surprise. His little face was filled with pleasant surprise. "Father, they flew away." Seeing the fireflies fly higher and higher, Dao became anxious. Mu Yanfeng teased Dao's little face, and then comforted him. "It's okay, Dao. Father will catch some more for you." "Yes, yes." These fireflies couldn't be held in the palm of his hand, so Zhao Yun took out a pouch and asked Mu Yanfeng to put the fireflies he caught into the pouch. After putting them into the pouch, the light emitted by the fireflies could still shine through the pouch, making it look bright. Mu Yanfeng leaped again, caught a lot of fireflies, and put them into the pouch. Then, he handed the pouch to Dao. "Here, for you." Dao happily took it and smiled at Mu Yanfeng. "Thank you, father. You don't have to be so polite with father." "Yes, yes." Chapter 2028. After a while, the third branch's family went back. Everyone was in high spirits at Zhao Tianhu's wedding, and it was rare for the whole family to be together. After the third branch's family left, Feng Zhangxia called Zhao Wenshi to talk for a while. Then, she said to Zhao Wenshi, "Tianhu's father, I want to talk to you about something." "What is it?" Zhao Wenshi asked curiously. Feng Zhangxia pulled Zhao Wenshi to a corner. She was afraid that others would hear them, so she whispered in Zhao Wenshi's ear, Tianhu's father, it's like this. Our Tianhu is too honest. This is his first time in the bridal chamber, so he doesn't have much experience. Can you talk to him and let him know how to do it? Zhao Wenshi frowned. Tianhu's mother, it can't be, right? Tianhu is an adult. How can he not know this kind of thing? Feng Zhangxia said earnestly, others may know, but our Tianhu may not. This child is too honest. I'm afraid he doesn't know. Say, if he doesn't even know how to do it, how can we have grandchildren? Zhao Wenshi felt that Feng Zhangxia's words made some sense. Zhao Tianhu was indeed very honest. No one had mentioned this kind of thing to him before, so he couldn't possibly learn it without a teacher. But, how can I talk about this kind of thing? Zhao Wenshi's ears turned red when he thought of this. It was fine to talk about this kind of thing with others, but it felt a little weird to talk about it with his own son. Why are you embarrassed to talk about it? You're his father. Now that he's married, what's wrong with you talking about this kind of thing? If you don't talk about it, do you expect me to talk about it? Feng Zhangxia snorted. Zhao Wenshi hurriedly said, how can that be? How can you, a woman, talk about this with him? Let me talk about it. At most, he could just be thick-skinned and say it out loud. Well, then go ahead and say it. Try to be as straightforward as possible. Tianhu is not like Sky Dragon. He's not as smart. If you say it too cryptic, I'm afraid he won't understand. Zhao Wenshi answered, got it, got it. Thus, Zhao Wenshi went to the front of the bridal chamber and called for Zhao Tianhu. Zhao Tianhu came out of the house with some embarrassment. He walked to Zhao Wenshi and asked Zhao Wenshi, Dad, why did you call me out? Zhao Wenshi smiled awkwardly and said, it's nothing serious. I just wanted to discuss sex with you. It would have been better if Zhao Wenshi hadn't said anything, but once he did, Zhao Tianhu's face turned even redder. Father, what's there to say? Zhao Wenshi cleared his throat and laughed dryly. I'm just afraid that you don't know how to. It's your first time in life, so it's normal that you don't have any experience. As a father, I have to worry about you. If I teach you now, it'll be easier for you when the time comes. Father. Zhao Tianhu lowered his head again and muttered, there's nothing to teach. Zhao Wenshi was stunned, then his gaze fell on Zhao Tianhu. He said to Zhao Tianhu ambiguously, Tianhu, so you know how to consummate your marriage? Zhao Tianhu blushed from his face to his neck. He didn't know how to answer Zhao Wenshi's question. Father. Chapter 2029. So, he asked Zhao Tianhu, what's there to be embarrassed about, kid? We are father and son. Now that you are of marriageable age, it's okay for you to talk about this with me. Father, don't forget, I know. Zhao Tianhu declined in embarrassment. However, Zhao Wenshi was still worried and continued to ask, since you know, why do you have to talk about it with me? Father, isn't it just a man and a woman doing that? How can I talk about this? Zhao Tianhu lowered his head even more and did not dare to look into Zhao Wenshi's eyes. Zhao Wenshi said anxiously, which one is it? You have to be clear, right? How would I know which one you're talking about? Father, between a man and a woman, it's just putting the thing down there together. Zhao Tianhu's voice became softer and softer as he spoke. If Zhao Wenshi continued to ask, he would probably feel ashamed. Seeing that Zhao Tianhu was really shy, Zhao Wenshi was relieved after hearing what he said. Seeing that Zhao Tianhu really knew what to do, he did not continue to pester Zhao Tianhu and let Zhao Tianhu go back to the room. When Zhao Wenshi returned to the room, Feng Zhangxia immediately went over and asked, Tianhu's father, how was it? Did you tell Tianhu? What did I say? I told you that he knew, but you didn't believe me. Just now, I asked him if he knew, Zhao Wenshi replied impatiently. Feng Zhangxia heaved a sigh of relief and smiled, that's good, that's good. Looks like our Tianhu isn't that stupid after all. At least he knows about this. Zhao Wenshi snorted. You're looking down on Tianhu, woman. That child is quite astute in some ways. Ha! Feng Zhangxiao laughed. At this moment, Zhao Tianhu walked into the room with a red face. After hearing what his father said, his mind was filled with the scene of him and Jin Ju having sex. The more he thought about it, the hotter his face became. At this moment, Jin Ju was sitting quietly by the bed, nervously waiting for Zhao Tianhu's arrival. The red veil on her head had not been removed yet. Her legs were crossed and her hands were holding the corners of her clothes. Zhao Tianhu glanced at his wife and his heart skipped a beat. He felt his body heating up. His throat choked and he muttered, "Wife." When Jin Ju heard Zhao Tianhu's gentle voice, she became even more nervous. She knew that at this moment, Zhao Tianhu would come in and remove the red veil on her head. Then, the two of them would complete the most important part of the wedding, which was the consummation of their marriage. Zhao Tianhu swallowed. Although he was nervous, he was also looking forward to it. He wanted to do that with Jin Ju and enjoy the pleasure of skin to skin. Wife. Zhao Tianhu called out again and slowly walked towards Jin Ju. Then, he lifted the red veil on Jin Ju's head. Because Jin Ju was shy, she lowered her head and did not dare to look at Zhao Tianhu. Zhao Tianhu reached out and lifted Jin Ju's chin. He said gently to Jin Ju, "Wife, raise your head and let me see. Don't keep your head down. I want to see your face." Only then did Jin Ju raise her head, and the two of them looked at each other. Chapter 20:30. Zhao Tianhu's heart skipped a beat. Looking at Jin Ju in front of him, he only felt that his wife was really a beautiful woman today. Zhao Tianhu's eyes blurred for a second. "Honey, you're so beautiful today." Jin Ju blushed again because of Zhao Tianhu's words. Looking at Zhao Tianhu in a wedding suit in front of her, Jin Ju finally understood why Mrs. Zhou said that Zhao Tianhu was very handsome today. After dressing up a little, Zhao Tianhu in front of her indeed didn't have the image of a rough man in the past. He was a little more handsome. It was indeed difficult to find such a handsome bridegroom in the countryside. Jin Ju wanted to tell Zhao Tianhu that he was also very handsome today, but she was too shy to say it now. She was too shy to say anything. Looking at the beautiful woman in front of him, Zhao Tianhu was a little restless in his heart, and his desire arose spontaneously. He wasn't young now, so how could he not know about the affairs between a man and a woman? Sometimes when he was working, he could hear a few words of a man who was married, and he was quite curious in his heart. The secretion of hormones made him want to find a woman to do that kind of thing with to relieve the emptiness in his heart. Unfortunately, he wasn't married before, and he didn't have a wife. Even if he had any desire sometimes, he would restrain himself. Now that he finally got married, he didn't need to restrain his inner desire anymore. If he wanted to do something, he could do it directly. Zhao Tianhu sat down beside Jin Ju and murmured, "Ju, my husband, Ju, it's late. Let's prepare for the wedding night. Every minute of the night is precious. Don't miss it." After saying that, Zhao Tianhu gently moved closer to Jin Ju and reached out his hand to Jin Ju. Jin Ju knew what was going to happen next, but there were still candles in the room. In such a bright environment, it was embarrassing to do that kind of thing. She stopped Zhao Tianhu and said shyly, "Honey, please blow out the candle if you want to do it. I'm afraid that someone will see us." Seeing the blush on Jin Ju's cheeks, Zhao Tianhu nodded. "Okay." As he spoke, Zhao Tianhu walked up to the candle flame and blew it out. The room was suddenly plunged into darkness, which made Ho Jinju feel more secure. "Honey." Zhao Tianhu couldn't wait any longer. He moved to the front and back of the bed and pressed Jin Ju under his body. Jin Ju let out a low cry. Although she was nervous, she did not resist. Now that she was married to Zhao Tianhu, it was natural for her to do this kind of thing. Facing her future husband, she was willing to let him touch her however he wanted. Moreover, she had some faint expectations in her heart. Touching that soft body, the desire in Zhao Tianhu's heart grew stronger. He moved closer to Jinju's body and sniffed. A faint fragrance entered his nostrils. "Honey, you smell so good," Zhao Tianhu said in a low voice. When he touched Jinju's lips, he couldn't help kissing her. It was the first time that Jinju had been intimate with someone. If other people touched her like this, she would definitely resist. However, facing Zhao Tianhu at this time, she didn't want to resist at all. Instead, she sank deeper and deeper into Zhao Tianhu's kiss. After being intimate for a while, their bodies became hotter and hotter. Zhao Tianhu's lower part was already erect, and he was eager to release it. Chapter 2031. Jinju subconsciously blocked it with her hand and let out a whimper. Zhao Tianhu paused for a second, then said to Jinju softly, "Honey, don't be nervous. I'll do it slowly. I won't hurt you." Only then did Jinju slowly release her hand. A satisfied smile appeared on Zhao Tianhu's face as he continued to undress. Both of them were wearing wedding clothes, so it was very complicated to undress them. After a while, both of them slowly took off their clothes and faced each other naked. Daughter-in-law, although it was dark in the room, both of them could feel each other's existence. Zhao Tianhu's hands touched Jinju's body. Wherever his hands touched, Jinju's skin would tremble. This kind of numb feeling was a little strange, but she didn't know why she liked it very much. "Honey." Zhao Tianhu's erect thing was pressing against Jinju's lower abdomen, and Jinju's face was burning. Thinking of the next step, Jinju became even more nervous. She was at the age of getting married, so it was impossible for her to be completely ignorant of this kind of thing. She had heard that a woman's first time would bleed, and it would be very painful. At this moment, she was aroused by Zhao Tianhu, and eagerly wanted Zhao Tianhu to finish the next step. She didn't care whether it was painful or not. She would only know what kind of feeling it was after trying it. "Honey. I'm going to come in. Please bear with it for a while." Zhao Tianhu lowered his body and whispered in Jinju's ear. "Okay." Jinju answered shyly. Because the room was very dark, Zhao Tianhu couldn't find the door, so he could only fumble around. After a few minutes, both of them were unusually anxious. Zhao Tianhu was even more anxious than Jinju. Sure enough, the first time was unfamiliar, and it wasn't so easy to succeed. But if he didn't go in for a long time, that thing down there would be really uncomfortable. Most importantly, as a man, if he couldn't do this kind of thing, it would be like losing face. In the future, he wouldn't be able to raise his head in front of his wife. "Honey, I." The more impatient Zhao Tianhu was, the harder it was for him to succeed. Seeing that Jinju still hadn't succeeded, Zhao Tianhu felt a little guilty. Jinju was already on fire because of Zhao Tianhu. At this moment, she desperately wanted to relieve the fire. In the end, Zhao Tianhu didn't move at all. She suddenly felt a little disappointed. However, Jinju still comforted Zhao Tianhu. "Husband, maybe you're too tired today. Why don't we have a good rest tonight? We'll be fine tomorrow." Zhao Tianhu of course knew that Jinju was comforting him. He knew that he wasn't in a good state today, but if he gave up now, it would leave a psychological shadow. He didn't know whether he could do it tomorrow. Zhao Tianhu said in a low voice a little shyly. "Ju, today is our wedding day. We have to consummate our marriage tonight. If we don't consummate our marriage, what will it be? This is our mother's first time. It's inevitable that we're unfamiliar with it. Let me try again. What if I succeed? Besides, my thing is still hard. If we don't do it now, it won't soften tonight." Hearing Zhao Tianhu's words, Jinju smiled and agreed. Chapter 2032. "Honey. Can you help me touch it?" Zhao Tianhu's heart was slightly moved, and he asked Jinju in a somewhat pleading tone. Jinju's face became even hotter. How could she not know what Zhao Tianhu meant when he said he wanted to touch her? She was too shy to say a word this time. How could she touch it? She didn't even want to look at it. Wifey, can you help me touch it? Zhao Tianhu begged again when Jin Ju didn't say a word. Jin Ju's heart softened when she heard Zhao Tianhu's begging. She didn't want to reject Zhao Tianhu. She hesitated for a while before she finally agreed. Zhao Tianhu was thrilled. He hurriedly reached out his hand and gently guided Jin Ju's hand to a certain part of her body. After a while, Jin Ju hurriedly held something like a cucumber in her hand. After realizing that it was a certain part of Zhao Tianhu's body, she had a very strange feeling all over her body. Zhao Tianhu also felt that this feeling was very strange, but there was a comfortable and pleasant feeling in the strange feeling. Zhao Tianhu didn't know how to describe it. No wonder other men said that sleeping with a woman was a very comfortable experience. He finally understood what those people were talking about at this moment. If he didn't experience it himself, he wouldn't know what it was like. Wife. Zhao Tianhu let out a soft moan of pleasure. This time, he couldn't wait to touch Jin Ju's body. This time, he finally found the right channel and entered her body in an instant. Both of them let out a muffled groan, but each of them felt different. For Zhao Tianhu, the feeling of being wrapped was a little different. It was very comfortable, but Jin Ju felt a little pain. She couldn't help but frown. Zhao Tianhu couldn't help moving. Jin Ju endured the pain and said, "Honey, can you be gentler?" Realizing that his movements were a little too violent, Zhao Tianhu hurriedly controlled himself. "Does it still hurt?" Zhao Tianhu softly asked the beautiful woman under his body. Jin Ju replied, "Yeah, a little bit." Zhao Tianhu's movements became even gentler. This feeling of controlling himself and not releasing too much made Zhao Tianhu unable to stop. After Jin Ju slowly adapted to Zhao Tianhu's thing, she didn't feel any pain. Instead, she felt a sense of pleasure. Seeing that Jin Ju didn't complain about the pain, Zhao Tianhu's movements became a little faster. The two people gradually reached their climax in the pleasure of the moon and water. Because it was the first time for both of them, they were very unfamiliar with it. However, it was the first time they felt this wonderful experience, and they felt that it was not enough. Therefore, they were too happy doing this kind of thing. Jin Ju couldn't help but cry out. The two of them didn't notice at all that their bed was creaking under their violent tossing. The sound was abnormally loud. At this time, in the room next door, Zhao Wenshi and Feng Zhangxia were afraid that Zhao Tianhu would be too honest. Even if he really knew how to do it, he might not be shameless enough to do it, so they turned their ears to the wall and listened to the movements in Zhao Tianhu's room. Chapter 2033. Zhao Wenshi said with a straight face, "Of course. Why would I lie to you about this?" Feng Zhangxia frowned and asked worriedly, "What should we do?" "Tianhu's father, look at Tianhu's room. There's no movement until now. They definitely aren't doing it. Isn't it just that they haven't consummated their marriage?" Zhao Wenshi sighed and said, "You woman, look at how anxious you are. You'll know later. Maybe they haven't started yet." Glancing at Zhao Wenshi's calm expression, Feng Zhangxia replied in annoyance, "How can I, as a mother, not be anxious when you're talking like that? Today is Tianhu's wedding day. How can they not consummate their marriage? The two of them have been in the room for a long time. They should have started a long time ago. Why haven't they started yet?" Zhao Wenshi still felt that Feng Zhangxia was worrying too much. The two of them might be embarrassed at the beginning. "It's nothing. You woman, you're making a fuss over nothing. If they really can't do it, what are you going to do? Are you going to break into the room and teach them step by step? You're the father who doesn't know how to care about your children. Anyway, I don't care. If the two of them can't do it tonight, you'll have to teach them properly." Zhao Wenshi couldn't argue with Feng Zhangxia, so he could only agree. Okay. Whatever you say." As soon as Zhao Wenshi finished speaking, there was finally some movement in Zhao Tianhu's room. Feng Zhangxia hurriedly gestured for Zhao Tianhu to keep quiet. "Shoo." Then she stretched her ears and pressed them against the wall, carefully listening to the sounds coming from the other side of the wall. First, there was the sound of the bed creaking. Then, she heard Jin Ju moaning. It was obvious what Zhao Tianhu and Jin Ju were doing at that moment. The worried expression on Feng Zhangxia's face finally disappeared. She heaved a sigh of relief and whispered to Zhao Wenshi, "Hey, it's finally done. The two of them are consummating their marriage." Zhao Wenshi smiled and said to Feng Zhangxia, "I told you. You worry too much. What could possibly happen?" Although Tianhu is a little honest, he's not a fool. If he doesn't know how to consummate his marriage, then he's really a good-for-nothing. Feng Zhangxia looked at Zhao Wenshi. "You don't know how honest Tianhu is. It's good for parents to worry. Even if he knows, we can still remind him. Isn't this just in case?" Zhao Wenshi had no choice but to nod in agreement. At that moment, Zhao Tianhu and Jin Ju were tossing and turning in the room more violently, especially when they heard the ecstatic moans. Zhao Wenshi and Feng Zhangxia didn't have much of a reaction at first, but after hearing the sounds, their desire grew stronger. Zhao Wenshi smiled and leaned closer to Feng Zhangxia, revealing a sly smile. "Tianhu's mother, since the two of them have consummated their marriage, you don't have to continue worrying. Are you going to do something for the two of us now?" Chapter 2034. Zhao Wenshi chuckled. "So what? What's so shameful about doing such a thing with my own wife? Besides, no one else would know." Feng Zhangxia glared at Zhao Wenshi again and rejected him. "No, Tianhu's father, I've been busy all day. I'm exhausted. I don't have the energy to do this with you." Now Zhao Wenshi's desire was aroused. If he didn't vent it, he probably wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. So he begged Feng Zhangxia, "Tianhu's mother, I know you're tired today. It's been hard on you, but please help me solve it. Otherwise, I'll feel uncomfortable holding it in. You stinky men just like to do this all day." Feng Zhangxia pretended to complain. Zhao Wenshi smiled wretchedly. "Not all day. Tianhu's mother, we've been busy with Tianhu's wedding. We haven't done this for a few days. Don't you want to do it?" As Zhao Wenshi spoke, he walked in front of Feng Zhangxia and hugged her from behind. He used his thing to poke Feng Zhangxia's butt a few times. Feng Zhangxia cursed softly, "Stinky man." Zhao Wenshi chuckled again. Then, he pushed Feng Zhangxia onto the bed and pounced on her. He couldn't wait to take off his clothes. Once a man held it in for too long, he would be like this. No one could stop him from being impatient. At this moment, Feng Zhangxia was also looking forward to having sex with Zhao Wenshi. They hadn't done it for a few days and she missed it badly. Both of them were busy in the house, and they didn't notice that someone had sneaked out of the house. It was Zhao Wenshi. When Zhao Tianhu got married, old Zhao's family held a banquet. Everyone in the family ate and drank together, and he was the only one who was forgotten. Not only was there no feast for him, but the most abominable thing was that no one brought him food at noon or at night. He was left alone on the bed, starving. It was better at noon. Old Zhao's family didn't like him, but they didn't vent their anger on Zhao Tianyu. Therefore, Zhao Tianyu went to eat lunch. Zhao Tianyu ate a lot of food in his bowl. He ate too much and didn't finish it all. He left a small bowl and put it in the courtyard, so he ate the remaining half of the food in Zhao Tianyu's bowl. After all, he had only eaten a little bit. His craving hadn't been quenched yet, let alone such a small amount of food to fill a man's stomach. At this time, the food that he had eaten at noon had already been digested. At this time, his stomach was growling, and he was very hungry. Lying on the bed, he was so hungry that his chest was sticking to his back. If he continued like this, he was afraid that he would starve to death in bed. In order to avoid starving to death, Zhao Wenshi had to rush out of bed and decided to go to the first branch's kitchen to find something to eat. The first branch held a banquet, so they must have saved a lot of food. If he secretly ate some food, the first branch wouldn't find out. Thinking of this, Zhao Wenshi quietly went to the first branch's kitchen. To Zhao Wenshui's disappointment, he didn't find anything delicious in the first branch's kitchen. Zhao Wenshui was puzzled. How could there be no leftovers at a banquet? Could it be that the first branch knew that he would secretly come out tonight, so they hid the leftovers in advance? It shouldn't be like this. Chapter 2035. However, it was not the fish and meat that Zhao Wenshui was expecting. It was a plate of vegetables and some rice. The taste of the vegetables was naturally not as good as the meat dishes. There was oil in the meat dishes. For someone like him who had not eaten meat for a while, he was now eager to eat something with oil. Zhao Wenshui rummaged through the dishes again, but in the end, he could not find anything. Looking at the plate of vegetables and rice, Zhao Wenshui could only make do with it. Now that his stomach was growling with hunger, he was not qualified to be so picky. It was good enough that he did not starve to death. Zhao Wenshui sighed, shrank into the kitchen, and ate all the vegetables and rice on the plate. The rice was obviously not cooked today. It was probably cooked the day before, so it was a bit rancid. Zhao Tianhu was not qualified to be picky. It was rancid, but he could eat it. At least it could fill his stomach. As for the vegetarian dishes on the plate, they were very good, because the dishes cooked by Zhao Yun, during the banquet, the taste was absolutely indescribable. After Zhao Wenshui ate all the vegetables, his hunger was finally eliminated. After a long sigh of relief, Zhao Wenshui stood up from the ground. Just as he was about to return to his own room, he passed by Zhao Tianhu's bridal chamber. After hearing the commotion coming from inside, Zhao Wenshui's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't even move his feet. The voice inside grew louder and louder, and Zhao Wenshui's heart itched even more because of it. Unable to suppress his curiosity, Zhao Wenshui walked toward Zhao Tianhu's wedding room, wanting to see what the scene inside was like. Unfortunately, when he arrived in front of Zhao Tianhu's room, he found that the candles inside were out, and he could not see the scene inside. Even so, Zhao Wenshui still could not walk. His heart was rippled by the sound. Just by listening to the sound, Zhao Wenshui had already imagined what was going on in the wedding room. Being disturbed by Jin Zhu's voice, Zhao Wenshui felt that his lower part was erect. Zhao Wenshui quickly pressed it back, but his lower part was once again erect against his pants. Zhao Wenshui was anxious. What should he do now? Now that he had a reaction, he did not even have a woman by his side. Even if he wanted to do it, he could not find anyone. He felt uncomfortable leaving his lower part hanging like this. After living without a woman for a period of time, Zhao Wenshui only felt very sullen. The sound in Zhao Tianhu's wedding room not only did not stop, but also became louder, as if they were afraid that no one could hear them. Old Zhao's shabby room was not soundproof. With such a loud sound, the people in the other rooms probably heard it. Zhao Wenshui sighed in his heart. It was good to be young. Her nephew was in his early 20s, which was the time when he was young and vigorous. He was good at doing this kind of work. Zhao Wenshui secretly envied him. If only he could be so bold and powerful that day and do it for such a long time. Women would probably be impressed by his skills in bed and would not be able to leave him. After having this thought, Zhao Wenshui patted his head and laughed at himself. Even if he became bold and powerful now, it was useless. He could not use his skills. He had to find a woman first. Chapter 2036. He loosened his collar impatiently. His body was burning hot, but he was reluctant to move. Zhao Wenshui faced the window and continued to move closer. He looked around, hoping to see something. It was dark in the room. He didn't see anything, so he gave up. However, the thing below him seemed to want to go up to the sky. He was helpless. He immediately reached out one hand and grasped the thing below him. He didn't feel better until he grasped it tightly. However, he couldn't go on like this. He had to relieve the heat. Now it seemed that he had to solve it himself, so he loosened his pants and revealed his thing. He held it with one hand and groped it back and forth. After releasing it, he let out a sigh of relief. It was better to do it with his wife. Although he could solve it for a while, he didn't feel comfortable at all. Zhao Wenshui sighed. He caught a glimpse of the sounds in the room and was a little envious of Zhao Tianhu. When Zhao Wenshui was about to go back, Wu Chunhua had a stomachache because she had eaten too much at night, so she got up to go to the latrine. However, the moment she walked out of the yard, she saw Zhao Wenshui leaning on the ground in front of Zhao Tianhu's bridal chamber. He kept looking around. Wenshui, what are you looking at? Wu Chunhua snapped at him. It was the bridal chamber of a newlywed couple, but Zhao Wenshui was leaning on the ground in front of the window and looking inside. Seeing Zhao Wenshui's lewd expression, Wu Chunhua was very angry. What kind of bad luck did she have to raise such a son that he actually knew how to do such sneaky things? Zhao Wenshui also didn't expect to be seen by others. After being struck dumb for a second, Zhao Wenshui replied in a trembling voice, "Mom, Wu Chunhua rushed to Zhao Wenshui in anger. She grabbed Zhao Wenshui's ear and scolded him. What are you doing? Tell me the truth right now. Why didn't you sleep in the middle of the night? Why did you come to the bridal chamber of a newlywed?" The moment Wu Chunhua finished speaking, Zhao Tianhu and Jin Ju, who were having S**X in the room, were startled. The two of them had been carried away, but once they heard Wu Chunhua's loud voice, they were scared and hurriedly covered themselves with clothes. They didn't expect that someone was watching them from outside when they were having S**X. Thinking of that, Jin Ju flushed and said to Zhao Tianhu in a low voice, "Husband, what should we do now?" Zhao Tianhu patted Jin Ju's back and comforted her. "It's fine. Don't worry about it. But I guess it's too dark in the room. Even if someone wanted to see us from outside, he or she couldn't see us clearly." Jin Ju lowered her head. Although she said that, although no one saw her body, she was moaning happily because of the pleasure just now. The person outside must have heard it. If so, she would be too embarrassed to meet other people in the future. Zhao Tianhu pretended to be calm on the surface, but he had the same feeling as Jin Ju. After all, he was an honest and shy person. It was the first time they had S**X, and he was embarrassed to be watched by someone outside the door. Zhao Tianhu patted Jin Ju's back and said, "Ju, I'll go out and have a look." Jin Ju nodded in a low voice. Zhao Tianhu put on his clothes, then walked out of the room. Chapter 2037. Being scolded by Wu Chunhua, Zhao Wenshui was struck dumb for a second, then panicked. If he told his mother the truth, he would be killed. Therefore, he covered his stomach at once, and said to Wu Chunhua with an aggrieved look, "Mom, why didn't you go to bed in the middle of the night? I had a stomachache, and I wanted to take a dump, so I came out." Seeing Zhao Wenshui's disgusting look, Wu Chunhua disliked him very much. She wouldn't believe Zhao Wenshui's nonsense. "Haha, Wenshui, who are you kidding? You had a stomachache in the middle of the night, and you wanted to take a dump. Why didn't you stay in the latrine? Why did you come to someone else's room?" Wu Chunhua's words fell into the ears of Zhao Wenshui and Zhao Wenshui. Zhao Wenshui clenched his fists in anger, then rushed to Zhao Wenshui and scolded Zhao Wenshui, "You bastard, what do you want to do this time?" Zhao Wenshui trembled in fear. Looking at Zhao Wenshui's angry face, he stammered, "Wenshui, I really didn't do anything. I just had a stomachache, and I wanted to take a dump. That's why I got up in the middle of the night." Then his sight fell on Wu Chunhua, and he muttered, "Mom, I really didn't want to do anything." Wu Chunhua rolled her eyes. "Wenshui, it's fine if you want to come up with an excuse, but you should come up with a better one. You can take a dump if you want, but why did you do it in front of someone else's room?" Zhao Wenshui thought Wu Chunhua's words made sense. He grabbed Zhao Wenshui's collar, and said angrily, "Exactly, what do you want to do? Second brother, you'd better be honest with me. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson." Zhao Wenshui muttered in his heart. "Tell me the truth. Wasn't this a joke?" He said that he got up in the middle of the night to steal food. She was afraid that the people of the first branch would punish him even more miserably if they heard it. He wasn't an idiot. How could he possibly say such things? After thinking for a few seconds, Zhao Wenxue said in a low voice, Mom. Brother. It's because Tianhu and his niece-in-law were so noisy that I couldn't help but come here to have a look. Zhao Wenshue's voice grew softer and softer. Towards the end of his speech, even he lacked confidence. Hearing that, Zhao Wenshue was displeased. You son of a bitch. Why are you so shameless? I didn't blame you for what you did before, but now you're doing it again. Zhao Wenshue hurriedly said, Brother, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't have a wife, right? I haven't done it for a long time, and I'm bored, so Brother, you're a man too. You should understand me, right? Zhao Wenshue originally thought that Zhao Wenshue would let him go if he said such sensational words, but in the next second, he realized that he was wrong. Zhao Wenshue directly reached out his fist and heavily punched Zhao Wenshue's face. Zhao Wenshue groaned in pain. Brother, you son of a bitch. You're an elder. Aren't you ashamed to do such a thing? Aren't you afraid that others will laugh at you if they hear it? If I don't teach you a lesson today, you'll still be itching for a beating. Zhao Wenshue scolded angrily. Chapter 2038. After Zhao Wenshue was beaten up by Zhao Wenshue, he was injured and hadn't recovered yet. As a result, Zhao Wenshue continued to beat him up. How could Zhao Wenshue withstand such torment? It was extremely painful to have new injuries on top of old ones, especially when his dislocated arm was touched. Zhao Wenshue was in so much pain that cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Big brother, please forgive me. I really won't dare to do it again. If you continue to beat me, I'll die. Zhao Wenshue begged for mercy as he dodged. Zhao Wenshue was unmoved. He was really angry at Zhao Wenshue. If he didn't teach Zhao Wenshue a lesson, he wouldn't be able to vent the anger in his heart. Seeing that Zhao Wenshue couldn't do anything, Zhao Wenshue could only ask Hu Chunhua for help. Mom, I'm dying. Please save me. No matter what, I'm still your son. You can't just watch me get beaten to death by Big Brother. Hu Chunhua watched coldly from the side. She didn't want to get involved. After all, what Zhao Wenshue did was too embarrassing. As an old woman, she didn't have the face to listen to Zhao Wenshue's words. You black-hearted second son. Didn't you learn your lesson before? Now you're still doing such despicable things like before. Even if you're not ashamed, I'm ashamed for you. You've completely embarrassed me. Hu Chunhua replied angrily. Feng Zhangxia, who was standing at the side, agreed. That's right. Second brother, you've gone too far. What did you do? My Tianhu has always been shy. After what you did, Tianhu will definitely be too embarrassed to meet others. If we don't teach this kind of person a lesson, it'll be a disaster for our old Zhao family. Feng Zhangxia said that on purpose for Hu Chunhua to hear. She hoped that Hu Chunhua would not stop her. How could Hu Chunhua not understand the meaning behind her eldest daughter-in-law's words? She nodded in agreement. Lao Er really can't be forgiven for doing such a thing. He needs to be taught a good lesson so that he will remember. With Hu Chunhua's words, Zhao Wenshue tightened his grip. Just now, because his mother was beside him, he restrained himself when he hit Zhao Wenshue. Now, he went all out, and Zhao Wenshue screamed even louder. Oh, my brother, my brother. I'll really die if we keep fighting. Mom, help me. Zhao Wenshue's blood-curdling scream startled the other people in Old Zhao's courtyard. People from Old Zhao's yard came out to see what was going on. Why aren't you sleeping in the middle of the night? What are you doing? Zhao Baoshan had drunk a lot that night, so he had not sobered up yet. He asked a little drunkenly. Zhao Wenshue replied, Dad, you can ask Er. I'm too embarrassed to tell you what he has done. Hearing his father's tone, Zhao Baoshan frowned and turned to look at Zhao Wenshue. What did you do this time? Zhao Baoshan scolded him coldly. Dad, I didn't do anything. I really didn't do anything. Please ask my brother to forgive me. Zhao Wenshui said bitterly. His mother couldn't save him, so he had to turn to someone else for help. Maybe Zhao Baoshan would feel sorry for him. Zhao Baoshan was drunk, but he wasn't stupid. Who would believe that you didn't do anything in the middle of the night? If you didn't do anything, why would your brother beat you? Chapter 2039. Zhao Wenshui felt his vision darken for a moment. His mind was in a daze. He couldn't stand steadily and almost fell to the ground. He didn't know how painful it was. He felt like he was going to die, and it was difficult for him to breathe. Hua Chunhua had been observing Zhao Wenshui's reaction. She noticed that Zhao Wenshui wasn't in a good condition, so she stopped Zhao Wenshui at once. Boss, you've already hit him, and Baojia is seriously injured. He must have learned his lesson this time. I don't think he would dare to do it again. If you continue to hit him, he might die, and you'll be in trouble. Zhao Wenshui glanced at Zhao Wenshui, then stopped. Zhao Wenshui fell to the ground all of a sudden, and didn't have the strength to get up again. Zhao Baoshan had drunk too much wine and wasn't feeling well. He didn't have the time to care about Zhao Wenshui's life or death. He snorted softly before returning to his room. Zhao Baoshan had already drunk too much wine and was feeling unwell. He didn't have the leisure to care about Zhao Wenshui's life or death. Mom. Zhao Wenshui waved at Hua Chunhua weakly. Mom, can you give me a hand? Hua Chunhua said curiously, that's enough, second brother. Stop pretending. Stop tormenting yourself. Mom, I'm not pretending. Can you give me a hand? Zhao Wenshui's throat was dry, and his face was as pale as a dead person under the moonlight. Hua Chunhua didn't realize that Zhao Wenshui wasn't pretending until now. She immediately called the members of the fourth branch of the Hua family to watch. Baoshan, help your elder brother get up and send him into the room. Zhao Wentao didn't understand what had happened. Even if Zhao Wenshui did something wrong, it had nothing to do with the fourth branch of the Hua family. After all, Zhao Wenshui was his elder brother, and he couldn't ignore him. Hearing Hua Chunhua's words, Zhao Wentao hurriedly walked over and helped Zhao Wenshui up from the ground. According to Hua Chunhua's instructions, he sent Zhao Wenshui back to the second branch of the Hua family. Mom, Baojia seems to be in a bad condition. Should we call Dr. Sun to have a look? Otherwise. Zhao Wentao's face was full of worry. He looked at Hua Chunhua and asked. Hua Chunhua glanced at Zhao Wenshui, who was lying on the bed, and replied coldly. He deserves it. To find a doctor. Besides, it's late at night. If we don't go to bed, Dr. Sun has to sleep. If we call Dr. Sun over now, old Zhao's family will become a joke tomorrow. Mom. Do you mean you don't care about Baojia anymore? What if? Before Zhao Wentao could finish, Hua Chunhua interrupted him. What if? He deserves to die. He's such a bastard. He only knows how to embarrass me. I feel embarrassed because of him. After scolding Zhao Wenshui, Hua Chunhua turned around and was about to leave. She said to Zhao Wentao, all right, Baoshan, don't worry about him. Go back to your room and have a good rest. Zhao Wentao sighed to Zhao Wenshui, who was lying on the bed. In the end, he nodded and went back to his room. He didn't care whether Zhao Wenshui was dead or alive. As for Zhao Tianhu, after making a ruckus, he returned to Jin Ju's side. Jin Ju blushed and asked Zhao Tianhu, hubby, what happened? It's my uncle. Zhao Tianhu lowered his head and said with embarrassment, I don't know why he leaned against our window and watched us do it just now. Chapter 2040. In any case, Zhao Wenshui was an elder. How could a person who was several decades old do such a thing? Just listening to it was enough to make one speechless. Thinking that she had to stay in touch with Zhao Wenshui and old Zhao's house in the future, Jin Ju was a little scared. Feeling Jin Ju's body trembling, Zhao Tianhu knew that Jin Ju was scared, so he held Jin Ju's hand and comforted her. Ju, don't be afraid. I'll protect you well in the future. I won't let anyone bully you. Jinju replied in a low voice, sure. Ju, now that everything is fine, shall we continue? Zhao Tianhu asked Jinju gently in her ear. Jinju felt a little embarrassed. Honey, I think we'd better forget it. After being disturbed by Zhao Wenshui, she was unable to calm down. How could she still have the mood to do such a thing? Her original desire was like a basin of cold water being poured over her head, extinguishing all her desires. Great, then let's go to bed early. It's getting late now. Zhao Tianhu didn't force Jinju. He considerately let Jinju lie down, and the two fell asleep in each other's arms. The next day, Jinju went to bed very late because she had too much fun at night. She didn't get up until it was daytime. Feng Zhangxia didn't mind. She knew that it was Jinju's first time, so it was normal that she couldn't get up the next day. Anyway, there was nothing important at home that Jinju needed to do. It was better for Jinju to sleep more. Different from Jinju, Zhao Tianhu was strong, so he didn't feel tired at all after what they had done last night. He got up very early in the morning. When Jinju woke up, the sun was already very strong. Once she saw the dazzling sunlight outside, Jinju was scared and immediately got up from the bed. She looked a little flustered. Before she got married, although Zhou Damei was just a stepmother, she had taught her a lot. Unlike in her parents' home, she had to take good care of her parents-in-law. Otherwise, her parents-in-law would complain and she would have a hard time in her future. Especially on the first day of her marriage, she should wake up early in the morning to help with the housework so that her in-laws would like her. Ju, you're awake. Zhao Tianhu walked into the room. Seeing Jinju get up, he greeted her with a smile. Jinju nodded, then complained to Zhao Tianhu, Tianhu, why didn't you call me when you got up? I slept alone until now. Zhao Tianhu gave a silly smile and said, Ju, it's fine. Sleep a little more. You were so tired last night, so you should sleep a little more today. Rest well. Otherwise, where would you get the strength to do that? Hearing Zhao Tianhu's words, Jinju's cheeks suddenly turned red. My husband, haha, honey, you don't have to be shy. We're already husband and wife. Jinju lowered her head, her face full of shyness. Although she had already done it with Zhao Tianhu, she was still very shy. She was a girl, so she wasn't as thick-skinned as Zhao Tianhu. He didn't know how to be shy. Tianhu, you have to call me next time. Don't let me sleep so late. I'm married to your family, so I have to be more diligent in your home. Zhao Tianhu opened his mouth and smiled, revealing a row of white eyes. Okay, honey, I know. I'll call you when I get up later. Jinju nodded heavily and replied, okay. Chapter 2041. He had gotten married later than the other men in the village. Some of the men around his age had already become fathers and had several children. Now that he had married Jinju, Zhao Tianhu finally understood why God had made him wait for so long. It was to give him the best wife. To be able to marry such a beautiful and virtuous wife like Jinju was a very happy thing. Jinju smiled and said, let's not talk about it anymore. I'm going to wash up first. Okay, I'll go ask my mother if there's any breakfast left. Okay. When Jinju walked out of the house, she found that there were several people sitting in the house. Shen Pan was playing with Zhao Yangyang in the courtyard. Zhao Xinhui was sitting under the shade of a tree with his legs crossed and eating melon seeds leisurely. As for Feng Zhangxia, she was busy washing clothes. She was washing clothes for the whole family. When she walked out, everyone's eyes fell on her. Jinju was a little embarrassed to be stared at like that, but she still shamelessly walked up to them and greeted them one by one. Mother, sister-in-law, little aunt, Feng Zhangxia smiled and responded. Out of politeness, Shen Pan, also smiled and nodded. Seeing Feng Zhangxia and Shen Pan's attitude, Jinju breathed a sigh of relief. Her mother-in-law, brother, and sister-in-law were all easy to get along with. Her life in her in-laws' house wouldn't be too difficult after she married into their family. Zhou Damei had also told her that whether she lived a good life in her in-laws' house depended on her mother-in-law first. If her mother-in-law was easy to get along with, there wouldn't be so many problems in the future. Another thing was her sisters-in-law. If her sisters-in-law were too scheming, they would fight openly and secretly. Her life would also be chaotic and uncomfortable. Now that she saw that Zhou Damei's situation didn't fall on old Zhao's family, Jinju naturally felt lucky. The corners of her mouth couldn't help but curl up into a smile. She looked forward to the future even more. However, what made Jinju's heart turn cold was Zhao Xinhui's attitude and words. Zhao Xinhui rolled her eyes and said to Feng Zhangxia while eating melon seeds, "Sister-in-law, your taste in choosing a daughter-in-law is not good this time. My second niece-in-law is not the same as Hope. She is a miss from a big family. She slept until this time on the first day of her marriage. I don't know what she will be like in the future." Jinju's face immediately turned red. She glanced at Zhao Xinhui and felt as though something had smashed into her chest. Feng Zhangxia smiled embarrassedly and defended her second daughter-in-law. "Aunt, Ju is too tired. She slept late last night, so she's a little late today. Anyway, there's nothing to do. She can sleep a little longer." Jinju glanced at Feng Zhangxia with gratitude. She didn't expect her mother-in-law to be so kind and defend her. However, Zhao Xinhui coldly snorted and said, "Sister-in-law, it's fine if you don't mention it. Now that you mention it, I feel that this daughter-in-law of yours simply doesn't know how to be embarrassed. It's the first day she married into our Zhao family, and she already made such a big commotion at night. How can the rest of us sleep? Even Pan didn't do this when she married us. They are both daughters-in-law, but they can't be compared. Pan was born in a big family, so her upbringing is indeed a little different. As for this new wife, I guess she doesn't have a mother to teach her. That's why she's so shameless and shameless." Zhao Xinhui had a reason to pick on Jinju. Chapter 2042. Now that young Master Huang had abandoned her, she had to stay in the countryside and couldn't go anywhere. Moreover, life in the countryside wasn't easy. Not only did she lack basic necessities, but without young Master Huang, she couldn't do that. It would have been fine if she hadn't done it before, but she had experienced it and knew what it felt like to be in love. Moreover, she had just lost her child and her heart was very empty. She desperately wanted to relieve the loneliness in her heart and find a man to play with her. So when she heard Jinju's moans, how could a normal woman like her take it? After hearing Jinju's moans for so long, she couldn't sleep well. Her body was hot and she couldn't get rid of it, so she couldn't sleep well the entire night. Now, she naturally blamed Jinju for this matter. She was in a bad mood and was picking on Jinju's thorns. Zhao Xinhui's words made Jinju extremely embarrassed. Her entire face flushed red for a moment, and she stood in the courtyard, feeling somewhat restless and uneasy. Zhao Xinhui had humiliated her so mercilessly. As a girl, how could she be so thick-skinned as to listen to Zhao Xinhui's words? Shen Pan, who was sitting by the side, looked on with a hint of schadenfreude. She didn't feel much sympathy for her second sister-in-law. Feng Zhangxia pursed her lips awkwardly. "Little sister, it's really not a big deal. It's just one day. They are newlyweds, so it's normal for them to be a little late at night. They can't do it every day." Zhao Xinhui snorted. "Sister-in-law, you're so magnanimous. You're even helping them with something so embarrassing. If it were my wife, I would probably despise her to death." As Zhao Xinhui spoke, she rolled her eyes at Jinju. Jinju lowered her head. She was a thin-skinned person, so how could she stand other people's words? Feng Zhangxia glanced at Jinju. She saw that Jinju's head was lowered and her ears and neck were all red. She could imagine how Jinju was feeling right now. Feng Zhangxia sighed softly. Her youngest sister-in-law was always like this. She just had to make things difficult for others. It was their wedding night. What was a little more trouble between the newlyweds? She didn't believe that Zhao Xinhui and young Master Huang hadn't done it before. If they hadn't done it, then how did Zhao Xinhui's child come about? Now, she was teaching Jin Ju a lesson, making Jin Ju very embarrassed. As her mother-in-law, it was naturally not easy for her. No matter what, since her daughters-in-law had married over, she had to help them out a little. She didn't want her two daughters-in-law to go through the pain that she had suffered from Hu Chunhua before. Little sister, look at what you're saying. Zhu, and Tianhu are officially husband and wife. No matter how much they torment others, no one can say anything. It's not like they're having an affair. What's there to be embarrassed about? Feng Zhangxia replied with an embarrassed smile. At this time, Zhao Yun, who had just arrived at the first branch's place, heard Feng Zhangxia's words and praised Feng Zhangxia very much. Now it seemed that her aunt was really protective of her daughter-in-law. Although she didn't treat others well, she could be considered a competent mother-in-law. After Feng Zhangxia finished speaking, Zhao Yun, smiled and said, "Eldest aunt is right. They're not having an affair. What's wrong with having intercourse between husband and wife? If they can't have intercourse, how can they carry on old Zhao's family line? Youngest aunt, don't tell me you think that the child is just randomly picked up. In any case, you're married. Don't tell me you haven't had intercourse before." Zhao Yun's words made Zhao Xinhui so angry that her face and ears turned red. Chapter 2043. Zhao Yun, aren't you ashamed that you keep talking about sexual intercourse? Zhao Xinhui asked angrily. Zhao Yun, shrugged nonchalantly. Youngest aunt, why should I be ashamed? Could it be that I'm wrong? How can I have a child if I don't have sexual intercourse? Could it be that youngest aunt is special and jumped out of a crack in a rock? Zhao Xinhui's face turned ashen with anger. This B***tch was too much. How could a young girl say such things? And she had to say such words to go against her. Zhao Yun, you have no sense of shame. You're a girl, but I've never seen anyone more shameless than you. You haven't married the heir of the crown prince and you haven't held a wedding ceremony. You're just an unmarried girl. How could you say such things? It's completely inappropriate. I don't know where you're going to put your face. Youngest aunt, you don't have to worry about that. I'm unmarried, but I already have a child. What's wrong with saying such things? On the other hand, youngest aunt, you're always saying that others are shameless. I'm afraid that you're the most shameless person here. Zhao Xinhui glared at her and said, how am I shameless? You slut, explain yourself clearly. Zhao Yun, put her hands on her hips and raised her chin. Since someone was so insensible, then there was no harm in explaining it clearly. With a smile on her lips, she replied teasingly, youngest aunt, everyone in our village knows that you've been divorced by young Master Huang. Not only did you stay at home, but you also shamelessly said that I, hooked up with older sister Ping's man. At the very least, Qin Yuan called you youngest aunt. Don't you think that's incest? To put it bluntly, you're shameless. You even tried to steal your own niece's man. Zhao Yun didn't give her any face. When Zhao Xinhui heard this, her face flushed red. Slut, you're too much. How dare you say such things about me? I'm your aunt. Zhao Xinhui couldn't help but curse. Zhao Yun smiled and said indifferently, I'm telling the truth. I'm afraid that you don't want to hear it. What a pity. It's useless even if you don't let me say it. Anyway, it has already spread throughout the village. Auntie, there's a good saying that paper can't wrap fire. If you don't want people to know, then don't do it in the first place. You're being laughed at by the whole village now. I don't know where you got the face to say that to others. If people knew, I'm afraid they would laugh their heads off. Zhao Xinhui was almost driven mad by Zhao Yun's words. How could she have known that the matter between her and Qin Yuan had already been made known to everyone? She had become the laughingstock of the entire village. And then there was the matter of young Master Huang breaking off the engagement. The more she thought about it, the more embarrassed she felt. She wasn't the kind of person who was particularly thick-skinned. She still wanted to save some face. At this moment, Hu Chunhua came out of the room. Zhao Xinhui angrily went up to Hu Chunhua and complained to Hu Chunhua, "Mother, look. This Yuner girl's mouth is so cheap. She's talking bad about me. Hurry up and help me vent my anger." Hu Chunhua was used to protecting Zhao Xinhui. How could she see Zhao Xinhui being wronged? She looked at Zhao Yuner and asked somewhat angrily, "Yuner girl, aren't you going too far? How did your aunt offend you again?" "Grandmother, I didn't do anything. I just said the truth and auntie became desperate. Why don't you ask eldest aunt and the others what I said wrong?" Zhao Yuner was also very imposing. She didn't cower in the slightest when facing Hu Chunhua. Chapter 2044. No matter what, Zhao Yuner had spoken up for their family just now, so she should stand on Zhao Yuner's side now. Thus, she sheepishly replied to Hu Chunhua, "Mother, Yuner is right. She didn't do anything overboard or say anything overboard. Sister-in-law, can't you speak with some conscience? That wretched girl just said that I was shameless. Are you deaf?" Zhao Xinhui glared at Feng Zhangxia angrily. "Auntie, Yuner is telling the truth. Everyone in the village said that. She's not the only one. You can't just blame her." Feng Zhangxia weakly replied. She was very disdainful of Zhao Xinhui in her heart. Indeed, everyone in the village knew and was talking about it. Since Zhao Xinhui felt that it was embarrassing, then she shouldn't have done those shameless things in the first place. She had to bear the brunt of the gossip. "Mother." Zhao Xinhui angrily stomped her feet and looked at Hu Chunhua. Hu Chunhua's eyes clouded over, but she didn't know what to do. After all, she was aware of those nasty words coming out of the village. She was already so old, but now that she was old, she was being laughed at, saying that her daughter was indecent. But what else could she do? Zhao Xinhui was her biological daughter. She couldn't do anything about it. "All right, Huier, go back to the house and rest first. It's not fun to quarrel with the family. If they come here later, they'll laugh at our old Zhao family again." Hu Chunhua patted Zhao Xinhui. She had no intention of standing up for Zhao Xinhui. Zhao Xinhui looked at Hu Chunhua resentfully. "Mother, you're not even standing up for me, child, stop making a fuss. Mother has a headache. I still have other things to do." With that, Hu Chunhua turned around and left. Zhao Xinhui glanced at Zhao Yuner and then glanced at Feng Zhangxia. He stomped his feet in anger and turned to enter the house. Finally, the courtyard of old Zhao's house fell into silence. Feng Zhangxia heaved a sigh of relief. She was very annoyed when she thought of her aunt making a fuss. Jin Ju was the one who couldn't react to what had just happened. Jin Ju's face was red and her heart was filled with panic. This was the first time someone had scolded her for being shameless because of sexual intercourse. She was already thin-skinned to begin with, so how could she withstand such words from others? Thinking that everyone in the family knew that she had done that thing with Zhao Tianhu in the bridal chamber last night, Jin Ju became even more shy. If she had known that so many people would hear it, she would have restrained herself last night. Unfortunately, it was too late to regret it now. She didn't know how to face old Zhao's family now. "Second cousin-in-law, don't take my aunt's words to heart. She's just like that. She doesn't feel comfortable if she doesn't pick on others." Zhao Yuner patted Jin Ju's shoulder and comforted her. Jin Ju looked at Zhao Yuner with some gratitude. Fortunately, Zhao Yuner helped her to resolve the awkwardness just now. Otherwise, she wouldn't know how to face the people in the courtyard. Feng Zhangxia also smiled and said, "That's right, second daughter-in-law. Don't take your aunt's words to heart. How can you have children if you don't sleep in the bridal chamber? Children don't jump out of a crack in the stone. You have to work hard in the bedroom. I still want to hold a grandson soon. I hope that you can get pregnant soon and give Tianhu a child." Tianhu is not young anymore. In the village, people of his age are already fathers. Jinju responded shyly and said in a low voice, okay. Chapter 2045. Feng Zhangxia wiped her hands as she spoke and looked like she was about to enter the kitchen again. Jinju hurriedly said, Mother, I'll do it myself. You don't have to work so hard. She was already done when she woke up. If she had to look for Feng Zhangxia for meals, she would become a lazy daughter-in-law. In order to avoid leaving a bad impression, it was better for him to look for her for meals himself. Feng Zhangxia waved her hand. It's okay. It's your first day here. You're not familiar with anything. Mother will do it. Later, I'll slowly tell you where to put the things. Mother, Jinju was about to say something, but Feng Zhangxia had already turned and entered the kitchen. She was very diligent. Zhao Yun watched from the side and opened her mouth. Her aunt was really different in front of her daughter-in-law. She was so good to her daughter-in-law that no one could find fault with her. It was a blessing to have such a mother-in-law, wasn't it? Jinju stood there with tears in her eyes. It seemed that she was moved by Feng Zhangxia. Zhao Yun thought that something was wrong with Jinju and asked Jinju, second cousin-in-law, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Are you feeling unwell? Jinju shook her head and looked at Feng Zhangxia's busy figure. She choked and said, no. I just feel that my mother-in-law is too good to me. She's like my deceased mother. In Jinju's memory, the only person who was good to Jinju in this life was her biological mother. Unfortunately, her biological mother passed away when she was young. Later, Zhou Damei married into her family and became her stepmother. This stepmother was not as good as her biological mother. She didn't treat her well and liked to order her to work every day. In the past few years, she had been suffering and didn't feel the love of her family for a day. Now that she had married into old Zhao's family, she felt that Feng Zhangxia was very good to her. She doted on her as if she was her biological mother. And she hadn't felt this kind of closeness for many years. After thinking of her mother, Jinju's eyes naturally reddened and she had an impulse to cry. Zhao Yun'er comforted her, it's okay, second cousin-in-law. Everything is over now. Since you married into old Zhao's family, you will start a new life. I believe that my aunt will treat you well, and my second cousin will definitely protect you well. Hearing Zhao Yun'er's words, Jinju was filled with hope for the future. She nodded heavily and replied, N. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. Shen Pan, who was taking care of Zhao Yangyang, felt a little uncomfortable. There was only one mother-in-law. If she treated Jinju well, she would have to share some of her responsibilities. In the future, Feng Zhangxia would not be as devoted to their family as before. If there was anything good, they would share it with Xiao Tianhu and his family. Shen Pan'er was worried about the future. In the future, when their family's heavenly dragon passed the imperial examinations and became a high-ranking official, would they still have to lead Xiao Tianhu and his family? Although they were biological brothers, there was a good saying. Biological brothers should settle their accounts clearly. Since they had their own families, they shouldn't continue to stick together. Before old Zhao's family split, Shen Pan'er was very annoyed by the troubles caused by the other branches. However, after splitting, it was much quieter. Therefore, before Zhao Tianlong made a name for himself, it would be best to split the family. Otherwise, when Zhao Tianlong became a high-ranking official, he would definitely be criticized by others. Chapter 2046. Shen Pan rolled her eyes, thinking about how to bring this matter up with Feng Zhangxia. It would be best to mention it tactfully, or let Zhao Tianhu's branch take the initiative to separate from the family. Feng Zhangxia heated up breakfast in a short while and called Jinju over to eat. The food was still leftovers from yesterday's banquet. It fell into Zhao Yun'er's well last night and didn't spoil, so it could continue to be eaten today. Jinju was also very hungry at this moment, so it didn't take long for her to finish a bowl of rice. After eating, Feng Zhangxia asked Jinju to leave the food aside so that she could wash it later. This time, no matter how Feng Zhangxia stopped Jin Ju, she didn't compromise and took the initiative to do some work. She felt a little uncomfortable if she wasn't busy for a day. After a while, Feng Zhangxia remembered that Zhao Yun, was here, so she asked Zhao Yun, why are you here? Zhao Yun, wasn't in a hurry. She nodded and replied, I want to ask second cousin for help. Tianhu is right behind the house. He's building our chicken shed. Feng Zhangxia replied, then shouted at Zhao Tianhu, Tianhu, Yun, is calling for you. Hurry up and come over. Zhao Tianhu responded, then came out of the house. Little sister Yun, why did you call me? Zhao Tianhu asked with a silly smile. My father asked me to come over and call you. He said that he can't do the work in the fields alone, so he wants you to help. Zhao Tianhu responded without hesitation, okay, Yun, I'll go now. Okay. Zhao Yun, smiled. Her second cousin was really good. He had a good temper and didn't feel tired when working. He didn't hesitate at all. Let's go now. Zhao Tianhu wiped his forehead, put down the tools in his hand, and pretended to leave with Zhao Yun, Jin Ju followed him, looking a little reluctant. Zhao Tianhu patted Jin Ju's head lovingly and said to Jin Ju, wife, you stay at home and have a good rest. I'll be back soon. Jin Ju answered reluctantly. When Zhao Yun saw how reluctant the two couples were to part, she immediately felt guilty. She wondered if she should come to Zhao Tianhu for help and give the couple more time to spend together. After all, they had just gotten married. The relationship between the two of them was still at the stage of cultivation and sublimation. They needed to spend more time together. Okay. Jin Ju replied. Zhao Tianhu followed Zhao Yun and headed towards Zhao Yun's house. On the way, Zhao Yun, couldn't help but tease Zhao Tianhu. Second cousin, it seems that you have a good relationship with second sister-in-law. Pretty good. Zhao Tianhu replied shyly. What do you mean pretty good? It's just pretty good, second cousin, I mean how good is it? This. Zhao Tianhu lowered his head and thought to himself. So good that he couldn't wait to eat Jin Ju a few more times. But how could he say this? If he said this to Zhao Yun, she would be embarrassed to death as a girl. Yun, don't ask. Just wait for your wedding. Zhao Tianhu said with a red face. But second cousin, there's still a long time before my wedding. Why don't you tell me first? Zhao Yun chuckled and narrowed her beautiful eyes. Her beautiful eyes were sparkling, revealing a hint of intelligence. Chapter 2047. Of course, Zhao Tianhu was just joking and didn't really mean it. Zhao Yun didn't care and said, so what? Shi Ziyi won't dislike me. It's good enough that I don't dislike him. Zhao Tianhu smiled, little sister Yun, I didn't expect you to be so cute when you're narcissistic. What kind of person is Shi Ziyi? His identity is extraordinary and he won't lack women around him. You have to grasp this opportunity well and trap Shi Ziyi's heart. Don't let Shi Ziyi have a change of heart. The most unreliable people in the world are men. You can trust anyone but men because men are the easiest to have a change of heart. Zhao Yun, was amused by Zhao Tianhu. She didn't expect that her second cousin, who was usually simple and honest, would say something like this. It really surprised her. Zhao Yun couldn't help but tease and asked Zhao Tianhu, second cousin, as a man, do you also have a change of heart? Zhao Tianhu's face turned slightly red and then said weakly, of course I won't. His wife was so good. She was beautiful, diligent, and virtuous. He wouldn't have a change of heart unless he was stupid. Among the other men in the village, there were not many who had a better wife than his wife. Second cousin, since you won't, then Shi Ziyi won't either. Why do you think Shi Ziyi is more fickle than you? Zhao Yun smiled. Little sister Yun I'm different from Shi Ziyi. I'm just a country bumpkin and I don't have any skills. It's good enough to be able to marry a wife like Ju. How can I be picky and have a change of heart? But Shitzi Ye's identity is different. He can have whatever he wants. There must be a lot of beauties around him. The more temptations he receives, the higher the chances of him having a change of heart. After listening to Zhao Tianhu's words, it seemed to make sense, but in fact, it wasn't. Zhao Yuner had full confidence that Mu Yanfeng would not have a change of heart. Second cousin, you're right. But before he met me, the crown prince had many beauties by his side, but he only liked someone like me who wasn't very attractive. It can be seen that to the crown prince, a person's appearance isn't the most important thing. Since you don't like beauties, why are you afraid that he won't be able to resist the temptation of beauties and will fall in love with someone else? Zhao Tianhu was stunned. After thinking for a while, he nodded. Sister Yuner, what you said seems to make sense. If Shitzi likes beauties, he wouldn't be single now. Sister Yuner is really lucky to have met a man like Shitzi. Zhao Tianhu grinned. His smile was bright and beautiful. It was very beautiful. The two of them continued walking and soon arrived at Zhao Yuner's house. Zhao Tianhu went to the field with Zhao Wenhua. They said that they were going to fill the paddy field with water. It was inconvenient for Zhao Wenshui to take care of the water wheel alone. There weren't many people in the family who could help. Zhao Tianhu and their branch were very close. Usually, they would call for Zhao Tianhu for small matters. Because they were familiar with each other, they didn't think much of it. After Zhao Yuner returned, she pondered about going up the mountain to pick some wild mushrooms. Now that she was eating vegetables at home every day, she felt that it was a bit bland. Because she didn't go to town often, she didn't eat much meat every day. Wild mushrooms were delicious, so she picked some to improve her diet. Chapter 2048. They should be able to eat for a few days after picking them and keeping them fresh. Of course, if they went up the mountain, it would be even better to get some game. The taste of some wild animals couldn't even compare to pork. When Zhao Yun returned home, she found that Mu Yanfeng was nursing Tian Tian. Even though he was the heir, he had gained a lot of experience after taking care of children for a period of time. He was very good at nursing Tian Tian. Zhao Yun walked over and looked at Mu Yanfeng with a faint smile. Heir apparent, wouldn't it be too unfair for someone of your status to stay at home and take care of the child? Why don't I do it? Zhao Yun pretended to take Tian Tian from Mu Yanfeng's hands, but Tian Tian avoided her. No need, Yun Let me do it. It's my duty to take care of the child. I won't be tired. Mu Yanfeng had a faint smile on his face. It was very good looking. It had to be said that this man's appearance was really a bit heaven-defying. No wonder his cousin kept pestering him. Is that so? You like children that much? Zhao Yun held her face and stared at Mu Yanfeng as she joked. Of course. Mu Yanfeng replied without hesitation. Then, as if he thought of something, he looked up at Zhao Yun and said to Zhao Yun, Yun, if the two of us can live here in the future, you can give me a few more children. I will take care of them in the future. It will be very lively with a few more children. Hearing Mu Yanfeng's tone, it seemed that he was looking forward to it. Zhao Yun's cheeks reddened slightly. Then, she glared at Mu Yanfeng and said to Mu Yanfeng, who wants to have a few more children with you? Zhao Yun was influenced by the 21st century's eugenics and felt that she couldn't have too many children. Adults' energy was always limited. If she had so many children, how could she take care of them all? Moreover, it was impossible for anyone to say that they were not biased when it came to children. Zhao Yuner thought about how cute Daodu and Tian Tian were. If she shared her love with another child, would the two children be sad? In this lifetime, she and Mu Yanfeng might have another child. 3 children was enough. Of course, he also had his own selfish reasons for wanting another Zhao Yuner. In the end, Daodu was only the child of the original owner and Mu Yanfeng. He had nothing to do with her. Daodu was already 3 years old when she transmigrated to this world. She had never experienced what it was like to be a freak in October, nor did she know the pain of giving birth to a child. She would only know if she personally gave birth to a child. Therefore, when she got together with Mu Yanfeng, she wanted to give birth to a child for the man she loved. She only wanted one child. In this life, at least she and Mu Yanfeng had a crystallization of their love. Yun'er, I like children. I like our children even more. If we give birth to a few more, no matter if they look like you or me, the children will definitely be very cute. Mu Yanfeng said with a smile. Zhao Yun'er was silent for a moment. Then she stared at Mu Yanfeng and asked, but it's easy for women to gain weight and become ugly after giving birth. They also age quickly. After all, giving birth to a child is a very damaging thing. If I give birth to a few more children and become old and ugly, will you fall in love with someone else? After all, as the heir, you have a lot of beauties by your side. When the time comes, you might dislike me for being old and unattractive. Before Zhao Yun'er could finish speaking, Mu Yanfeng immediately stopped Zhao Yun'er with a sullen face. Chapter 2049. Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but smile when she heard Mu Yanfeng's serious words. She had only said it casually, but Mu Yanfeng seemed to take it very seriously. Mu Yanfeng reached out and pulled Zhao Yun'er back. Yun'er, you know that I don't love you because of your looks. I've never taken a second look at those beauties. If I cared about a person's appearance, perhaps I wouldn't insist on being with you. As for what you said about having children being harmful to the body, I never knew. If that's the case, Yun'er, we already have Daodu and Tian, so there's no need for us to have another child. I can't bear for you to suffer. Mu Yanfeng's words were somewhat affectionate, and Zhao Yun'er was even more touched. In ancient times, it was important to have a prosperous family. If one could afford to raise a family, they would be eager to have more children. Especially for someone of Mu Yanfeng's status, he would basically marry several concubines and go home to have more children. In this era, Mu Yanfeng could have such thoughts, which at least meant that in his heart, he loved Zhao Yun more than he loved children. Wasn't it a kind of happiness for a woman to be able to find such a man? After Mu Yanfeng finished speaking, a burst of laughter sounded behind the two of them. It was Mulan. Mulan walked forward and teased, Lord Heir, the words between you and Yun'er are so touching. Even I, as a bystander, am envious of Yun'er. Then she looked at Zhao Yun'er. Yun'er, you're so lucky. My man is very dull, and his words are not half as nice as Lord Heir's. Zhao Yun did not expect that the words of love between the two people would be heard by Mulan. She felt very embarrassed. It was as if her intimacy with Mu Yanfeng had been discovered. Why don't you call brother heir Hu over and let my family's heir teach him a lesson? Zhao Yun'er also replied jokingly. Mulan hurriedly waved her hand and said, forget it. My family's heir is too slow. He's not even half as good as Lord Shitzi. Even if Lord Shitzi teaches him step by step, he definitely won't be able to learn. Since that was the case, there was no need to waste any more time. Sigh, maybe my life is just like that. I can't compare to you, Yun'er. The corner of Zhao Yun'er's mouth twitched, and she replied weakly, sister-in-law Mulan, I couldn't tell that you're also someone who likes to sweet talk. I don't think sweet nothings are practical. As long as brother Eru treats you well, it's fine. Brother Eru is a practical person. Living with this kind of person will be more practical. Mulan covered her mouth and laughed, Yun'er, I know. I was just joking, but you're getting serious with me. After Mulan finished laughing, she said to Zhao Yun'er, Yun'er, I asked you to come over today for something. You said yesterday that you were going to the mountains. Are you still going today? My family's children are clamoring for good food every day. Let them have a taste of those wild mushrooms that you mentioned and have a change of taste. There are some wild fruits in the mountains during this season. Pick some for them while you're at it. Zhao Yun'er nodded in response, I'm going. I'll go in the afternoon. Alright, then I'll come over to look for you in the afternoon. Oh right, do you still have eggs at home? Lend me a few. I want to cook some rice for them in the afternoon. I don't know what's wrong with my chickens. They haven't laid eggs these few days. Of course, I don't have many chickens at home. I'll go to town to buy some more later. Chapter 2050. In the past, before they separated from the main family, she didn't have the right to control everything at home. In addition, her family was poor, so she naturally didn't give her children much to eat. Now that her family was richer, she naturally couldn't let her children suffer. Zhao Yun hurriedly responded, "Yes, I do. Sister-in-law Mulan, I'll go get it for you now." With that, Zhao Yun went to the kitchen. She was afraid that Mulan's family didn't have enough to eat, so she directly took 20 eggs and handed them to Mulan. "Yun, why did you take so many eggs? 5 or 6 eggs are enough. Isn't 20 a little too much? The eggs won't go bad if you take them back. If you can't eat them all at once, you can eat them a few times. I don't lack eggs at home, so don't be polite. Take them back and eat them." Mulan didn't refuse and took them. "Okay, I'll return them to you when I have more." Okay. Then Yun, I'll go back first. I'll come back to find you later." "Okay." Zhao Yun responded with a smile. It was almost noon, and the sun was getting hotter. Zhao Yun guessed that the men who were busy in the field had probably finished drinking the water they brought, so she got some cold water from the kitchen and prepared to give it to Zhao Wenhua and the others. Meanwhile, in the courtyard of old Zhao's house, Jin Ju had been busy all morning. Seeing that there was nothing else to do at home, she rested and faced the rest of old Zhao's family awkwardly. Feng Zhangxia saw that her second daughter-in-law was someone who couldn't stay idle. She probably had too much work on a daily basis, so she felt a little uncomfortable when she rested. Nowadays, there were a lot of housework at home. Cooking, washing dishes, washing clothes, cleaning the house, all of which fell on her head. The eldest daughter-in-law she married was a spoiled young lady. After marrying into old Zhao's family, how could she bear to let her do any work? Since she didn't let her, Shen Pan didn't take the initiative and never reached out to help with any chores. Last night, she had no choice but to ask Shen Panner for help. Who knew that while she was busy, Shen Pan would throw a tantrum again? She looked unwilling and didn't feel sorry for her mother-in-law at all. Seeing Jin Ju snatching everything from her, Feng Zhangxia felt that although this second daughter-in-law's family background was not as good as her first daughter-in-law's, her character was much better than her first daughter-in-law's. His love for Jin Ju grew even more. "Little Ju, now that there's nothing to do, go sit down on the stool and rest. You must be tired after doing so much work." Feng Zhangxia greeted Jin Ju. Jin Ju wiped the beads of sweat on her forehead and grinned. She replied, "Mother, I'm not tired. Even if you're not tired, you have to sit down and rest. You're not made of iron. If you're working, you have to rest. You can't be busy all the time." Jin Ju furrowed her brows. At this time, Shen Pan also called out to Jin Ju, "Second sister-in-law, listen to mother. Come sit next to me and rest. There's only so much work at home. It's not too late to work slowly. There's no need to finish it all at once." Shen Pan felt that it was very awkward for her to sit while Jin Ju was busy. Moreover, compared to Jin Ju, she knew that she was a lazy daughter-in-law, so she felt uncomfortable. Jin Ju was too embarrassed to refuse, so she responded and looked at Shen Pan. The two of them sat down not far away. Shen Pan was playing with Xiao Yangyang. Both mother and son had smiles on their faces. Jin Ju couldn't help but look at Shen Pan, and then at Xiao Yangyang. She saw that Shen Pan and Xiao Yangyang were both dressed luxuriously and looked very good. Chapter 2051. Moreover, Shen Pan was wearing some jewelry, gold, and silver. Her entire person was beautiful and gave off an air of elegance. She was far from being able to match up to the things that young ladies of noble families had cultivated since they were young. Facing Shen Pan, Jin Ju felt a bit envious. At the same time, she felt ashamed to be sisters-in-law with such a person. Country people loved to compare themselves, so there were probably quite a few people who would compare her to Shinpan. If she really compared herself, it was obvious that she wasn't just a little bit inferior to Shinpan. As Feng Zhangxia's wife, her mother-in-law would definitely like Shinpan a bit more. Thinking of this, Jin Ju felt a bit of bitterness in her heart. At this time, Zhao Yangyang pulled on Shinpan's hand and said in a soft voice, "Mother, Yangyang wants to eat mung bean cake. Can you go get some for Yangyang now? Didn't you just eat it this morning? Why do you want to eat it now? Moreover, it's almost time for lunch. If you eat it now, will you still be able to eat lunch later?" Shinpan said softly. Zhao Yangyang continued to pull on Shinpan's hand. "Mother, Yangyang just wants to eat it. Grandmother brought so much over so that Yangyang can eat to his heart's content. Yangyang doesn't want to eat lunch. Lunch isn't half as good as mung bean cake." How could Shinpan endure Zhao Yangyang's coquettishness? Before Zhao Yangyang could say much, Shinpan immediately surrendered. She could only nod and agree. Okay. Mother will go get some for Yangyang now. NN. Zhao Yangyang's face immediately filled with smiles. Shinpan got up and went into the room. She took out a cake box and inside it was the mung bean cake that the Qin couple had brought over. "Here, eat." Shinpan looked at Zhao Yangyang dotingly and handed the mung bean cake to him. Zhao Yangyang's lips curled into a brilliant smile. He immediately grabbed 2 pieces and stuffed them into his mouth. He was very satisfied. Children were like this. They liked to eat messy things but didn't want to eat. Of course, Shinpan also knew that old Zhao's family's food was very poor. They rarely ate meat, and there wasn't much oil in their dishes. Compared to the Shin family, it was like heaven and earth. Zhao Yangyang had eaten the Shin family's food before, so he was not very willing to eat when he was at old Zhao's house. He liked to complain all day long that he wanted to eat his grandparents' food. Unfortunately, as the daughter-in-law of old Zhao's family, it was fine for her to occasionally return to her parents' home for a while. If she stayed there all the time, it would cause dissatisfaction from her in-laws' family, and she would also be criticized by her relatives. After all, a married daughter would be thrown away. Zhao Tianlong was not marrying into the Shin family. According to the rules, a daughter-in-law should stay with her in-laws. Shinpan was about to eat a few pieces herself when she saw Jin Ju on the side. Feeling a little embarrassed, she handed the box of cakes to Jin Ju and said, "Second sister-in-law, this is mung bean cake. You probably haven't eaten it before, right? Do you want to try it? This thing was quite expensive, and a box cost 1 tael of silver. Most people would not be willing to eat it. This time, my parents specially brought some over for Yangyang to eat. This child is gluttonous and likes to eat these things." On the surface, Shinpan was inviting Jin Ju to eat, but the meaning behind her words made people uncomfortable. Chapter 2052. This amount of money was enough to buy a chicken back. A chicken could eat a good meal, but this pastry could go into the stomach in 1 bite. It wasn't worth it. Perhaps the actions of rich people were incomprehensible to them, or perhaps they had too much money in their hands and didn't care about a few taels of silver. Facing the pastry that Shinpan handed over, Jin Ju hurriedly waved her hand and refused. "No, eldest sister-in-law. It's better to leave such expensive things for you and nephew. I don't need them." Shinpan still pretended to be polite. "It's fine, second sister-in-law. It's fine to try 1 piece. Eat it and tell me if it tastes good." As soon as Shinpan finished speaking, Zhao Yangyang moved in front of Shinpan and pouted. He said to Fatty Shin somewhat reluctantly, "Mother, these pastries are for Yangyang to eat. How can you give them to others?" "Mother, Yangyang isn't happy." Shinpan smiled awkwardly at Zhao Yangyang, then lectured him, "All right, Yangyang, isn't there still a lot? What's wrong with just giving 1 piece to your second aunt to try? As a person, you can't be too selfish and willful." Zhao Yangyang's face was full of displeasure. No, Yang Yang only wants it for himself. I won't give it to anyone else. Shen Pan sighed and pretended to be helpless. She then said to Jean Ju apologetically, "Second sister-in-law, I'm really sorry. Our first branch only raised one grandson and we usually spoiled him too much. We let him do whatever he wants and he always takes the food. No one can say anything about it. How could Jean Ju blame her?" She hurriedly waved her hand and replied, "It's fine, eldest sister-in-law. Just let nephew eat it. It doesn't matter if I eat it or not. I'm really sorry." Jean Ju smiled, "Eldest sister-in-law, I appreciate your kindness. It doesn't matter if I eat it or not. It's great to have a sister-in-law like you." Her mother-in-law treated her well and her eldest sister-in-law seemed to be a good person. Therefore, Jean Ju felt very gratified. Shen Pan smiled embarrassedly. When she heard Jean Ju's words, she inexplicably felt a little guilty. "Since that's the case, I won't force you to eat it, eldest sister-in-law, you guys eat." The corners of Shen Pan's mouth twitched as she picked up a pastry and ate it with Xiao Yang. Seeing the mother and son eating happily, she felt awkward as an outsider sitting next to them. Moreover, even though she said that she didn't want to eat, she still had some thoughts in her heart. After all, such an expensive thing looked good and should be very delicious. Jean Ju gulped, then got up and said to Feng Zhangxia, "Mother, why isn't Tianhu back yet? He's probably busy. I saw him in your third uncle's field when I was washing clothes. Mother, why don't I deliver some saliva to Tianhu? He should be thirsty on such a hot day." Jean Ju suggested. She thought of an excuse to bring water to Zhao Tianhu so that she wouldn't have to stay in old Zhao's courtyard and stare at her mother-in-law and sisters-in-law, which would make things very awkward. Feng Zhangxia thought for a moment. On such a hot day, she really needed to get some water. "Second daughter-in-law, you just married into the family, so you don't know how to send them off. Let mother do it. Mother, just tell me how to get there and I'll know. You can rest at home. That's fine too. It's easy to recognize the road. Go out of the courtyard and walk straight to the right. When you reach the river, your third uncle's field is not far away. You'll be able to see it when you get there." Chapter 2053. Following Feng Zhangxia's directions, Jean Ju saw Zhao Tianhu, who was busy working in the field. She then rushed towards Zhao Tianhu's direction. "Husband," Jean Ju called out shyly from a short distance away. Zhao Tianhu thought that he was hallucinating at first, so he didn't pay much attention. It wasn't until Jean Ju called him a second time that Zhao Tianhu turned around and looked at Jean Ju. "Wife, why are you here? A girl running out on such a hot day, aren't you afraid of getting tanned? Girls are more beautiful when they are white and tender. You should go back and rest," Zhao Tianhu said with concern. Hearing Zhao Tianhu's words, Jean Ju felt a touch of sweetness in her heart. She didn't expect Zhao Tianhu to be so concerned about her. He was even afraid that she would get tanned. She didn't think much of it, but Zhao Tianhu didn't think about it, so Jean Ju was somewhat touched. "Husband, I'm here to give you some water," Jean Ju said as she smiled and waved the water bottle in her hand. Zhao Tianhu was stunned, then the corner of his mouth raised into a sweet smile. It turned out that his wife was worried that he was thirsty, so she brought him water. This feeling of being loved and cared for by his wife was really good. Unlike before, when he was single, he didn't envy others for nothing. He, Zhao Tianhu laughed foolishly. He didn't know what to say, so he just stood there and laughed. "Tianhu, it seems that second niece-in-law treats you well. She loves you very much." Zhao Wentao stood at the side and said jokingly. Zhao Tianhu was originally a thin-skinned person. When Zhao Wentao said that, he lowered his head and muttered, "Fourth uncle, why are you laughing at me? I'm not laughing at you. I'm just telling the truth. You little brat, fortune favors fools. You came back with such a good wife. Fourth uncle, all right, you're a big man. Why are you still shy? Things are different now. Now that you have a wife, you have to be more open. Don't be timid. Zhao Wentao instructed. Zhao Tianhu was silent for a moment before replying, "Fourth uncle, I understand. I'll be more careful in the future." Jin Ju then called the other men over to drink water. At this moment, the sun was scorching, and all of them were soaked in sweat. How could they not drink more water to replenish their water content? Jin Ju poured a cup of water and handed it to each of them. After drinking a cup of water, the three men immediately felt refreshed and comfortable. Ju, thank you. You're the best. Zhao Tianhu grinned at Jin Ju. Although he was very tired and hot right now, his face was filled with a happy smile. Jin Ju replied shyly, "Husband, I have nothing to do anyway. It's not tiring to bring you a cup of water. I just don't want you to come out and bask in the sun." Zhao Tianhu replied with a silly smile. Thus, when Zhao Yun was busy delivering water, she saw Jin Ju who had already delivered the water. Zhao Yun couldn't help but tease, sigh, "If I knew that second cousin-in-law was coming, I wouldn't have made a special trip." That's right. Yun, girl, you came for nothing. In the future, there will be a niece-in-law in the family. Like you, she's a caring person. Zhao Wentao followed behind and added a sentence. That's right. You don't need me anymore. Sigh, forget it. Then I'll go back. I won't bring you water in the future. Chapter 2054. The reason she rushed out to deliver water was to avoid the awkwardness of staying with old Zhao's family. If she went back now, what was the point of coming out? When Zhao Tianhu asked her to go back, Jin Ju shook her head. No, I still want to stay here with you. Zhao Tianhu frowned. But Ju, it's too hot here. Don't you feel uncomfortable under the sun? Jin Ju shook her head. It's not that bad at home. I'm not that delicate. Ju, Zhao Tianhu wanted to continue persuading her. After all, staying at home was definitely more comfortable than being outside in the sun. To him, the thing he couldn't bear to see the most was his wife suffering. Zhao Yun, patted Zhao Tianhu's shoulder and lectured Zhao Tianhu, "Second cousin, can't you tell? Second cousin-in-law just wants to stay with you. That's why the two of you got married. It's good for you to stick together all the time." Ah. Zhao Tianhu was stunned. He didn't think about it that way. He just felt sorry for Jin Ju. Ju, if you want to be with me and aren't afraid of the sun, then let's stay together. Zhao Tianhu said to Jin Ju after hesitating for a moment. Jin Ju lowered her head and answered shyly, "Okay, then I'll go first." Zhao Yun got up and said. With the scorching sun above his head, he felt a little uncomfortable. Perhaps she hadn't suffered much and was a little delicate. After lunch, Zhao Yun carried the basket on her back and called Mulan to go up the mountain together. Although it was the hottest day and it was very hot, the forest on the mountain was very cool because of the lush trees. It was as if they were in an air-conditioned room in the 21st century. If it weren't for the mosquitoes and wild animals on the mountain that could cause danger, it would definitely be very comfortable and cool to sleep on a bed here in the middle of the night. As the two of them walked, they searched for wild mushrooms on the ground. It was probably because it hadn't rained for a long time, so there weren't many wild fungi on the ground. The two of them picked for quite a while and collected half a basket of wild mushrooms. Even so, these wild mushrooms were enough to last for a few days. Zhao Yuner and Mulan were satisfied and decided to find something else. They found a lot of wild fruits on the mountain. They tasted sweet and were not worse than the fruits they grew at home. If they brought these back, the children would probably like them the most. The two people's luck was not bad. After walking for a while, they came across two wild rabbits. They looked very plump, weighing a few kilograms. They could be cooked in a pot. There were two of them, one for each family. Tonight, they would be able to enjoy a delicious meal. Yuner, I think it's about time. We've gained a lot this time. Shall we go back now? Zhao Yuner nodded and responded. She looked at the things in the basket and smiled with satisfaction. Just as the two of them were about to reach the foot of the mountain, Zhao Yuner felt that something was wrong. She felt that someone was following behind her, but she didn't see anything when she turned around. Mulan asked with concern, Yuner, what's wrong? Why are you so suspicious? Did something happen? I just feel like someone is following us. Zhao Yuner muttered. Is that so? Mulan looked around. Nothing. I don't see anyone. Chapter 2055. Yes, it must be. Don't think about it. Let's go down the mountain quickly. Mulan called out. Okay. Zhao Yun nodded. She shook her head, thinking that she might have been too busy and confused. However, just as Zhao Yun and Mulan continued to go down the mountain, in a bush, a rough man in gray said to another man in black, Boss, it seems to be this woman. We finally waited for her to come down the mountain. Do you want to make a move now? There's a woman next to him, she seems to be in the way. Are you sure it's this woman? The man in black asked. The man in gray nodded heavily, Boss, I'm sure it's her. We followed her all the way from her house, but we didn't have a chance to make a move. Now that we're here, we have a chance. If we don't make a move now, it won't be so easy when they enter the village. The man in black was silent for a moment and said, Okay then, let's make a move. The sooner we finish the job, the sooner we can get the remaining half of the money. Since they've spent such a high price, we naturally have to do our job well and satisfy our employer. Okay, boss, let's go then. Okay. As the two men spoke, they came out of the bush together and ran quickly towards Zhao Yun and Mulan. These two men had undergone professional training, so they were very skilled. When they made a move, they were very fast and neat. Before Zhao Yun and Mulan could react, the two men had already flashed behind them. Zhao Yun and Mulan both exclaimed. Sure enough, she didn't sense it wrongly. There really were people following behind her. Obviously, these two people didn't come with good intentions. They didn't know what they were planning. What do you want to do? Zhao Yun coldly scolded. Take you to a place. The man in black said in a deep voice. Zhao Yun wanted to resist, but before she could fight with the two men, they had already grabbed her arms and she couldn't move at all. Mulan was pushed by the gray-clothed man and fell heavily to the ground. Mulan screamed in pain, but after seeing the situation, she anxiously got up from the ground and rushed to the two men. What do you want? Why did he want to capture Yuner? Hurry up and release Yuner. Let Yuner go, do you hear me? Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. However, Mulan was a weak woman. Her threat was nothing to the two men, so they ignored her. Mulan immediately panicked. She was afraid that Zhao Yuner would be hurt, so she shouted, What are you trying to do? Let go of Yuner quickly. I'm going to fight it out with you. With that, Mulan rushed over. However, before she could get close to the two men, she was kicked heavily and then fell to the ground. Mulan was in great pain from the kick. She felt her vision turn black and a layer of cold sweat appeared on her forehead. She sat on the ground and covered her stomach. The gray-clothed man spat on the ground and cursed, Bitch, don't overestimate yourself. Zhao Yuner looked at Mulan worriedly. Sister-in-law Mulan, are you okay? Yuner, I'm fine. Mulan gritted her teeth. Because she was worried about Zhao Yuner, she pretended to get up from the ground. Zhao Yuner hurriedly dissuaded her. Sister-in-law Mulan, don't worry about me. Take care of yourself first. If you go on like this, you will die. Yuner. Chapter 2056. The gray-robed man scolded impatiently. Then, he turned to the black-robed man and said, Big brother, let's go now. Since we've already caught this person, let's bring her back. The black-robed man narrowed his eyes, then nodded in response. Let's go. You. Why did you catch her? Seeing that the two men were about to drag Zhao Yun, her away, Mulan immediately became anxious. If they were in the village, it would be fine. Once she shouted, at least someone would stick their head out to take a look. With the help of the villagers, it would be much easier to capture Zhao Yun, But now that they were on the mountain, no one would hear her even if she screamed until she broke her throat. Naturally, no one would come to save Zhao Yun, When Mulan shouted, the black-robed man frowned and looked sharply at Mulan. This woman can't be left alive, or else the two of us will be exposed. Second brother, hurry up and kill him. Zhao Yun's heart trembled. What were these people trying to do? Were they planning to kill Mulan? If Mulan died, she would die of guilt. Mulan had several children at home. If he died, what would happen to the 3 children? Mulan also seemed to be frightened. But when she heard the black-robed man say that he wanted to kill her, it meant that he was also very serious about hurting Zhao Yun, Mulan couldn't help but worry about Zhao Yun. Don't act recklessly. Since the person you want to catch is me, then don't hurt the innocent. I'll cooperate with you and go with you. She won't tell anyone. I beg you to let her go. Zhao Yun said to the black-robed man. Now that the two of them were in danger, she naturally wanted to save as many as possible. As long as they didn't do anything to her now, she would have a chance to save herself. What she needed to do now was to delay the two men and not let them hurt Mulan. The gray-robed man was obviously soft-hearted. He said to the black-robed man, "Big brother, I think we should forget about it. Knocking her out now won't get in our way. We're just looking for money. We don't want to kill her. If she really dies and gets involved in a lawsuit, it'll be troublesome." The black-robed man thought for a moment, then said in a low voice, "All right then, knock her out." "Yes." The man in gray quickly nodded and walked towards Mulan. He knocked the back of Mulan's neck and she fainted. Zhao Yun's heart was relieved, as long as these people let Mulan go. As for her, she would think of a way. In order to prevent Zhao Yun from struggling, the gray-robed man and the black-robed man took out a hemp rope to tie Zhao Yun's hands and feet. They even took out a piece of cloth and stuffed it into Zhao Yun's mouth, afraid that Zhao Yun would make any noise. Then, they carried Zhao Yun into the hemp sack and walked down the mountain. Not far from the foot of the mountain, they had specially prepared an ox cart with some other goods piled in hemp sacks. After they put Zhao Yun inside, it would be hidden. The black-robed man said, "When we reach Sun City later, I'll make a trip to the heir presumptive's residence and inform Miss Murong. Bring her to the place that Miss Murong has arranged. Do you understand?" The gray-robed man nodded heavily. "Got it, big brother. I'll take care of this small matter." The black-robed man responded. The ox cart swayed as it headed in the direction of Sun City. At this moment, Zhao Yun, who was placed in the ox cart, heard the two men's conversation and couldn't help but frown. The Miss Murong from the heir presumptive's residence that they were talking about should be Murong Shuang, right? Chapter 2057. She just didn't know what Murong Shuang was plotting against her this time. Knowing Murong Shuang's personality, she might even do something that would harm her life. Zhao Yun couldn't help but worry. She was caught and Mulan was on the mountain. She was afraid that no one would be able to find her immediately, let alone rush over to save her. Now that she was in danger at any time, it would be very difficult for her to save herself. Along the way, Zhao Yun lay on the horse carriage, thinking about what to do. They finally arrived at Yang City. The man in black went to the crown prince's mansion while Zhao Yun was taken to another place by the ox cart. When the ox cart passed by the street, Zhao Yun felt the noise around her. There was a chance if there was someone. Zhao Yun deliberately moved a little. Since she was tied up, she couldn't struggle much and there was something else on her body, so no one noticed her movements. Her mouth was also gagged. Although she could make whimpering sounds, in the bustling street, the little noise she made was quickly drowned out by the noise around her. Finally, they didn't know where the ox cart stopped, and Zhao Yun was carried down from the ox cart by the gray-robed man. Miss, don't think about escaping. Not many people have escaped from our hands. I think you'd better be good and wait for the employer to come. The man in gray nagged. Zhao Yun felt that the man in gray didn't speak very fiercely and didn't seem like a bad person. If he hadn't helped her say a few words today, she was afraid that the man in black would have really taken Mulan's life. Zhao Yun didn't make a sound. Of course, her mouth was gagged and she couldn't respond. Zhao Yun was thrown on the ground. She didn't know how long she lay there, but she finally heard the footsteps of a few people. The man in black was among them. A familiar voice entered Zhao Yun's ears. Where is she? It was Murong Shuang. It really was that woman. Although she already knew in advance, Zhao Yun still felt that something was different when she heard her voice at this moment. Here. The man in black quickly responded, then asked someone to open the sack. Zhao Yun then saw the light. She was now in a small dilapidated house, cooped up in the sack for a long time. Once she saw light, it was very dazzling. Zhao Yun's eyes narrowed, then she saw Murong Shuang standing in front of her. After Murong Shuang confirmed that it was Zhao Yun, the corners of her mouth curled into a sneer. Her sharp eyes fell on Zhao Yun. It was all because of this woman. If it weren't for her, her cousin wouldn't have looked at her and wouldn't have refused to marry her. Other than this woman, she had a chance to be with Mu Yanfeng. No matter what she did to Zhao Yun, there was a reason, so Zhao Yun couldn't blame her. She couldn't blame her for being cruel and merciless. Take the thing out of her mouth. Murong Shuang ordered the man in black. Okay. Zhao Yun finally spat out the cloth in her mouth. After a few violent coughs, Zhao Yun asked Murong Shuang, why did you bring me here? Murong Shuang grinned, actually, it's nothing. I just wanted to teach you a lesson. My cousin is bewitched by you. You have some tricks up your sleeve, woman. Chapter 2058. Zhao Yun furrowed her brows, sensing a hint of danger. She asked coldly, what do you want? Murong Shuang took a few steps forward and stopped in front of Zhao Yun. She squatted down and chuckled, you're still talking to me with this kind of tone at this time. You really don't want to live anymore. But since you don't want to live anymore, it doesn't matter. I don't plan to let you go easily anyway. As Murong Shuang spoke, she patted Zhao Yun's face a few times and muttered a few words, I don't know what's so good about your plain face. How can it be half as good as mine? My cousin must have a problem with his eyes to fall for a woman like you. But he must have his reasons for liking you. In my opinion, you must be a whore. You're good at that kind of thing, right? If you serve a man well, he'll naturally be obedient to you. Zhao Yun's face sank. This Murong Shuang was a lady from a respectable family. She had no sense of shame when she said such words. She really had to give it to her. I'm not as dirty as you think. You're an unmarried lady. Don't you know how to be shy when you say such words? Zhao Yun replied in a low voice. Why should I be shy? You should be the one who should be shy. I'm just saying it. But you've done it yourself. Compared to you, I'm not even half as good as you. Murong Shuang replied. You. Zhao Yun really didn't know what to say to Murong Shuang. Some people had a dark heart and thought they were infallible. Murong Shuang laughed. She looked at Zhao Yun, as if she wanted to eat her up. She really hated her too much. Ever since she was a child, she had been pampered. What could she not get? Everything she had experienced was good. For her, the only thing she couldn't get was Mu Yanfeng. If she had lost to other women, it would have been fine. But she had lost to an ordinary woman like Zhao Yun. Because of this, she was even more unreconciled. Zhao Yun, as long as I destroy you, it will be fine. Since my cousin likes your skills in bed, then I'll let someone defile you. I'd like to see if my cousin still wants you after you've been done by another man. Zhao Yuner felt that Murong Shuang was a little sick. She was so angry that her body trembled. If she allowed another man to defile her, wouldn't that mean that she would have sex with another man? Zhao Yuner really couldn't accept it. If she was a woman, she probably wouldn't even know that her body was dirty. She might as well die. Murong Shuang had actually thought of this to deal with her. It seemed that this woman would not be satisfied until she was ruined. But at this time, in this dilapidated place, who could she count on to save her? In such a short period of time, Mu Lianfeng probably did not even realize that something had happened to her, let alone come to her rescue. If she waited for Mulan to wake up and report that Mu Lianfeng really came to look for her, it would be too late by the time he found her. After her body was defiled, would there still be anyone to keep her? If Mu Lianfeng doesn't like you, then he doesn't like you. Do you think he'll want you without me? Stop dreaming. Zhao Yuner scolded angrily. Murong Shuang didn't care, I don't know whether it's true or not. Anyway, destroying you first is definitely the right thing to do. Zhao Yuner, just you wait. Ha ha ha. After Murong Shuang laughed proudly, she said to the servant girl beside her, come, give her that bowl of medicine. Chapter 2059. Yes, my lady. The woman's eyes also revealed a hint of viciousness. This country bumpkin wants to compete with my lady for a man. She really doesn't know her own limits. My lady is treating her like this now. She asked for it. When she arrived in front of Zhao Yun, the maid squatted down and pinched Zhao Yun's mouth. She then poured the entire bowl of medicine into Zhao Yun's mouth. The bowl of thick soup was very bitter. Zhao Yun wanted to struggle, but her hands and feet were tightly bound. How could she exert any strength? After drinking the entire bowl of medicine, Zhao Yun could not help but cough a few times. She wanted to vomit and spit out all the bitterness in her mouth. My lady, the procuress of Hua Man Lu said that this bowl of medicine will take effect very soon. The maid stood up and said to Murong Shuang, who was beside her. Murong Shuang responded with a sound of acknowledgement, and a satisfied smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. She looked at Zhao Yun on the ground as if she could already see Zhao Yun's tragic future. Call him in. Murong Shuang ordered again. Yes, my lady. As she spoke, the maid walked a few steps to the door of the house and called in a few men. These men were all covered in dirt and were dressed like beggars. It was very disgusting to look at. Murong Shuang squatted down and smiled at Zhao Yun. Wait for the medicine to take effect in your body. Then, enjoy these men, haha. Zhao Yun immediately understood Murong Shuang's meaning. She had just given her an aphrodisiac. Once the medicine took effect, she would not be able to control herself and throw herself at these men. It was undeniable that Murong Shuang's sinister methods were really frightening. Aren't you afraid that your cousin will find out? He won't let you off. Zhao Yun said angrily. Murong Shuang shrugged. What evidence do you have to say that I did it? Zhao Yun, it's not easy to pin the blame on me. I hope you'll be clear about this. Don't make slanderous accusations. Murong Shuang's intention was to never admit it. Indeed, as she said, without any evidence, how could she pin the blame on her? When the time comes, she could only rely on Mu Lianfeng's trust. Even so, without evidence, it would not be easy for Mu Lianfeng to blame Zhao Yun. Miss, don't be long-winded with her. Let's go out and watch the show. The maid at the side reminded. The smile on Murong Shuang's face disappeared as she nodded and replied, all right. Before Murong Shuang left the house, she called out to the beggars, serve me well. Zhao Yun's body slowly warmed up. Hua Manlu's aphrodisiac really took effect. The desire in her heart grew stronger. Zhao Yun tried her best to control herself and keep herself awake. However, she could hold on for a while. The eyes of these beggars, who had not seen a woman for a long time, were already shining when they saw a delicate woman like Xiao Yun. They could not wait to pounce on her. These people slowly approached Xiao Yun and began to untie the ropes on Xiao Yun's body. Xiao Yun felt her body loosen and she gained a moment of freedom. The wolf-like beggars wiped the saliva from the corners of their mouths and smiled wretchedly. "Little lady, don't be afraid. We'll serve you well and make sure you're comfortable." "Yes, yes, little beauty. Serve us well and we'll make sure you're satisfied." Chapter 2060. Now that she was no longer bound by ropes, she could more or less evade them. However, her body was very hot and her head was dizzy. She could not muster much strength. His resistance was only temporary. It wasn't difficult for him to escape with his body in this state. Murong Shuang, the man in black, and the man in gray were standing guard outside the door to ensure that there were no accidents. Xiao Yun's brows were tightly knitted together. Her eyes became gloomy as she stared at the beggars who were approaching. "Little lady, you have some skills. What are you hiding for? You can't escape from our palms anyway. Why don't you submit to us and we can have fun together? Little lady, there are still people outside. You can hide for now, but you can't hide forever. Why don't you submit to us? We can be gentler to you and be more careful. It won't hurt too much." The beggars stepped forward and forced Xiao Yun into a corner. Xiao Yun coldly scolded, "Get out of here. If you know what's good for you, get out of here." As soon as Xiao Yun finished speaking, a beggar's hand landed on her shoulder and gave her a heavy tug. Xiao Yun staggered and fell to the ground. The beggars took advantage of the situation and wanted to take off her clothes. Xiao Yun fell to the ground. Her body was very soft and she could not muster any strength. Just as she was about to lose all hope, she suddenly heard the door being kicked open with a bang. Then, the man in black and the man in gray were kicked to the ground. As for Murong Shuang, she was also pushed to the ground. "My lady, are you all right? My lady." Murong Shuang's maid quickly rushed to Murong Shuang and asked with concern. Xiao Yun also looked towards the door and a ray of hope ignited in her heart. She thought that Mu Yanfeng had come to save her. When she looked up, she saw that the person standing at the door was actually Yili, whom she had not seen for a long time. Xiao Yun was slightly stunned. Why was he here? Didn't he leave for a long time? Why was he back in one piece? She actually ran over to save her. While Xiao Yun was puzzled, Yili shouted at the beggars with a cold face, "Let her go, don't touch her." The beggars were also slightly stunned by the sudden change in the situation. Faced with Yi Li's somewhat infatuated gaze, they all trembled in fear. With just one look, they knew that the man in front of them was not to be trifled with. His kung fu was extraordinary. If they disobeyed him, they would only suffer. Who is this person? He doesn't look easy to deal with. That's right. His kung fu is so high. We definitely can't deal with him. Let's run away quickly. Go, go, go. Let's hurry up and run. Life is more important. Money and women are useless when you're dead. That's right, that's right. Several beggars whispered a few words to each other and quickly dispersed from Xiao Yun's side. Yili quickly rushed in front of Xiao Yun and asked with concern, "Miss Yun, how are you? Are you all right?" After confirming that Xiao Yun's clothes were still intact and that they had not been stripped off, Yili heaved a heavy sigh of relief. However, when he saw Xiao Yun's flushed face and how it burned with just a touch, Yili could not help but frown again. He started to worry about Xiao Yun. What did you guys do to her? Yi Li's sharp gaze shot towards Murong Shuang, the man in gray and the man in black. Chapter 2061. After exchanging blows with Yi Li earlier, the men in black and gray knew that Yi Li's skills were out of the ordinary. If they continued to fight, they would only lose their lives. In the end, it was money and not life. Not to mention that they might not even be able to protect their own lives. What was the point of earning that little bit of money? The black-clothed man and the gray-clothed man hurriedly shirked their responsibility. Hero, this has nothing to do with us. It was Miss Murong who did it. Everything was done by her. We only listened to her orders and took the money to do it. She gave this girl an aphrodisiac just now. I think it's taking effect now. But we didn't do anything to her. Great hero, every injustice has its perpetrator and every debt has its debtor. If you want to pursue the matter, go to Miss Murong. Let us go, I beg you. When Yili heard that Murong Shuang had given Zhao Yuner an aphrodisiac and arranged for so many beggars to come and defile Zhao Yuner, his eyes revealed a hint of hatred. This woman's methods were too vicious. Other injuries were fine, but this kind of injury was probably more serious than taking Zhao Yuner's life. Fortunately, he had discovered it in time and rushed over. Otherwise, Zhao Yuner would have been defiled by now. Just thinking about it made Yili's chest hurt. It was so uncomfortable that he couldn't speak. Now that Zhao Yuner had been given an aphrodisiac and the effects of the aphrodisiac were taking effect, what should he do? What could he do to help Zhao Yuner? After the men in black and gray finished speaking, Yili stared at Murong Shuang. He saw that Murong Shuang had a devastatingly beautiful face, but her heart was more vicious than snakes and scorpions. Compared to Zhao Yun, she was really 108,000 miles away, yet she still wanted to frame Zhao Yun, Murong Shuang was a little scared by Yili's stare. She weakly replied, "Who are you? What do you want?" Murong Shuang did not expect that a man would suddenly run over to save Zhao Yuner. Moreover, he was so skilled that no one could beat him. "Who I am is not important. You'll know what I want in a moment." Yili replied coldly. She then turned to Zhao Yuner and asked gently, "Yuner, this woman treated you like this. She can't be forgiven. Tell me, how should we punish her?" At this time, Zhao Yuner's face was flushed red. Her body was very uncomfortable, and her divine sense had become a little confused. Facing Yili, especially that exquisite face of Yili, there seemed to be a voice in her heart telling her to pounce on this handsome man and eat him up. The moment her spiritual consciousness sobered up, Zhao Yuner once again suppressed this evil desire. She absolutely could not do this to Yili. More importantly, she could not make Mu Yanfeng a cuckold. Murong Shuang saw Yili and Zhao Yuner like this. She scolded sarcastically, "Zhao Yuner, you are really bitchy. Isn't it enough to have my cousin? You even seduced other men outside and flirted with other men. A snake whose heart is not content will swallow an elephant. Zhao Yuner, I don't know when my cousin will see your face clearly. It's really disgusting." Yili looked at Murong Shuang unhappily. For the sake of Zhao Yuner's reputation, Yili sternly explained, "There is nothing between Yuner and me. Please don't slander her. You are already like this. How can you say there is nothing between you? You two bitches. I must tell my cousin. Zhao Yuner, you bitch." Chapter 2062. In addition to being vicious, this woman's mouth was equally vicious. How could anyone listen to what she said? From the looks of it, this kind of woman could not be let go. Although Zhao Yuner did not answer him how he should punish Murong Shuang, Yili already had an answer in his heart. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Since Murong Shuang could do this kind of thing, it was not impossible for him to take revenge on Zhao Yuner for this kind of thing. Yili stood up and looked at Murong Shuang condescendingly. The corner of his mouth hooked up into a cold arc. He said to Murong Shuang, "Which man would like a woman like you? You can't even compare to Yuner's finger. Since you hurt Yuner so much, I'll make you suffer." "You? What do you want?" Murong Shuang felt the danger emanating from Yili and asked worriedly. Yili did not answer Murong Shuang. Instead, he greeted the beggars on the side, "Do you want to live?" The beggars quickly nodded and responded, "Of course we want to live. Who doesn't want to live?" "Hero, this matter has nothing to do with us. Please let us go. We just received a little money. We were helping this lady." We really didn't want to hurt anyone. Hero, we're just a group of beggars. We're miserable enough. Please let us go. We won't dare to do it again. In the face of the beggars begging, Yili hooked up the corner of his mouth and ordered the beggars, "If you want me to let you go, it's easy. Just do something for me." The beggars said, "Hero, if there's anything you want us to do, just tell us. We'll do it if we can." "Yes, Hero. We'll do as you say, as long as you spare our lives." Yili stared at Murong Shuang on the ground, then said to the beggars, "What did this woman ask you to do to Yuner? Now you're doing it to her." The beggars were stunned for a moment. After confirming it, they asked, "Hero, are you asking us to rape her?" Yili nodded. A few of the beggars began to worry, "Hero, this is the young miss of a high official's family, we are the lowest of beggars, how would we dare to touch her? Hero, why don't you change your conditions? We can't do it, and we don't dare to do it. Please don't make things difficult for us." In the end, the beggars were afraid of Murong Shuang's identity because Murong Shuang was the daughter of a high-ranking official. In this day and age, the people that they could not afford to offend were officials. Yili sneered, "Since you're so afraid, then forget it. I won't force you. As for your lives, don't blame me for taking them." The beggars trembled in fear. Yili did not give them any leeway. If they didn't do it, they would die right now. What was the point of their worries? If he lost his life, there was no point in talking about anything else. "Hero, we'll do it, we'll do it. We'll do as you say, as long as you spare our lives." As they spoke, the beggars walked towards Murong Shuang's direction. Murong Shuang's pupils constricted for a moment. She never expected that Zhao Yuner, who was supposed to be the one to be raped, would be raped. Now, she was the one being raped.